sorry. I think there was some technical difficulties. Yeah, so we should be good. I hope you guys can hear me now. Uh, so yeah, so I just want to give you a quick introduction about what Crypto Insight is. So it's a webinar series addressing all things crypto. So we're gonna be talking about accounting and the legal side of it, and of course, what's crypto in general, the Crypto 101 series. We need to talk about it, right? So many people are talking about it. It's trending right now. There's a lot of FOMO out there. So this is what it's intended for. We have a vision. We want to educate people. We want to accelerate the blockchain adoption. We want people to start building on Web3. We want to do this together. So the best thing to do is by educating people on how everything works. And here it is. So I mean, we're gonna have, like I said, multiple series, and then this is intended for beginners. We're gonna dive into intermediate and advanced topics as we move on with the show. But yeah, so let me just go into the next slide and let me show you. So if you guys haven't registered, please do. We have some giveaways. We have some sponsors in the on the show. So we're gonna be giving out giveaways throughout the show. It's a surprise. You got to stay tuned for it. We have sort of amazing panelists, and you know there's a QR code. Just scan it, tap on it, and you get going. You already sign up automatically for the giveaway. We're gonna be having a raffle, and we're gonna be picking a winner. We're gonna announce it today as well. And of course, it's a big surprise at the end. We're gonna be giving an NFT. So please stay tuned for that. Yeah. So let me just go in forward. I'm going to do a quick introduction about our panelists. Yeah. So I want to welcome to the stage to our panelists. We have QK on in here. Hi QK, welcome to Crypto Insight Series 1. It's a pleasure to have you in here. You know, I know you have you have a lot of experience in the blockchain industry, in the legal side of it. So yeah, I mean, let me just bring in everyone else because I'm excited. I can't get, let's just do it. Let's bring in Teddy into the stage. Hey, Teddy, are you in there? There you go. That's my man right there.
Got it.
So, Teddy, just a little background. Teddy is a crypto educator and a video specialist. By the way, I missed that, QK. You should have told me. She's the crypto legal expert. So if you guys have any legal questions regarding crypto, she's your go-to, please. And Teddy is going to be covering all the 101 series about blockchain and crypto in general. And then last but not least, I want to bring in Rian into the stage. So hey, Rian, that's AKA Grandpa. How you doing, Rian? He's the crypto accountant specialist that we bring into the stage. He's going to be talking about how you can save taxes and at least pay less taxes in this modern world. And then how you can save about how you can do day trading or investing in crypto and still save money, or and then we, of course, today is, remember guys, it's the beginning. It's just a quick intro about what's crypto. So in the next series, once again, we're going to be covering about all the advanced stuff and how you guys can save in this. But yeah, you guys, how you guys feel? Are you guys ready?
Let's do it. Very
Cool. This is great. So how about we start? I want to pass the mic to QK. I wanted to ask you, QK, how are you? Can you tell me how you guys started with crypto, or how long you've been in crypto?
Yes. So hello everyone, I'm QK, and I have been in crypto for it'll be 2 years actually this month. So got in and dived in deep, right? And got into the money section of it, which is what really interested me years ago, because my background is in banking. I am an attorney, a licensed compliance and business attorney, but I have a true interest in money since like 2011. I worked at a mortgage company, lots of change happening there, and as time evolved, crypto has just been on the radar. And then finally, I took a deep dive into it in 2020. We were all stuck inside and just got completely obsessed and been obsessed ever since. Crypto, blockchain, the whole nine. So I'm very excited to talk about the legal and regulatory portions of crypto, which are kind of non-existent. So still being built.
Amazing, amazing. What a great thing. How about you, Teddy? Let me just pass it over to you.
Yeah, you guys hear me all right?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
Yeah. So I got in the crypto with the December 2020 pump of Bitcoin. You know, it was on the news again, and it's always kind of comes in the news, goes away, comes in the news, whatever. I always just had, documentaries on the Amazon Prime list waiting, because I heard about the rumblings of this, but I didn't really understand it too much. And just, I'm in my late 30s, so I've, like some of you guys probably can relate to, throughout the year, seeing tech just move and YouTube becoming a big thing. And I was a part of the beginning of YouTube, but just never thought you could make money off of it, and just kind of just let things pass me by. So I was like, I know that this thing, once I kind of researched what blockchain and cryptocurrency is, I know it's going to be the next big thing. It will be the future. So just like UK, I just dived head first into it, and just it's become my everyday life since.
Okay. Look at that. Yeah, I know that we're gonna be covering the Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3. So guys, please stay tuned. Hey, how about you, Ryan?
Yeah, they call me Grandpa because definitely this is kind of newer to me. But I come from a more traditional background, like finance background, with basically a master's in accounting. I worked as a public accountant for 4 years. And then I did media as a director of finance for 4 years as well. So I didn't get into crypto until the end of December 2020. And basically since then, it's been full dive. Because once I understood where it was going and what this space is going to be doing, I knew that it's the future. So yeah, I ended up my job that I had early this year, and I work full time for myself now doing crypto consulting, recommendation, portfolio rebalancing, where the ability to help track your basis and make good decisions. I can help with that.
Wow, that sounds like that's too complicated for me. But I know if I'm making investments, I'm coming to you. But hey, you brought up a good point. I just want to ask all three of you guys. For everyone who's watching us, how do you feel? I mean, is it too late to get started with crypto? What are your thoughts on that? It's does the age matter? It's like, for me, especially, I'm in the tech field, and then I see crypto going everywhere. But how about for everyone who's not technical, everyone who's a beginner? What are your thoughts on that? I'm just gonna pass it. Whoever, it's open mic, so whoever wants to take the first.
It's never too late. Yeah, it's never too late to get into crypto. I think today is always a good time. If you've never bought any crypto, buy today.
Absolutely.
So you tell it. Okay, so I guess we're telling our audience you guys can get started with crypto today. Like, what's crypto, right? How about you, Teddy? What are your thoughts on that?
That's good, because it's like, hey, it's been the news. I just keep seeing it pop in the news. You might be asking yourself, and like it was in the news a year ago. It's too late now. No, like now is the actual perfect time. Where the market's at, it's the best time to buy in, and it doesn't matter how old you are. And I know that's what we're kind of trying to introduce today. Like, it's like tech is scary. Do I look like a computer programmer over here? No, you don't have to be. Just as long as you have some general knowledge, with just smartphones and everything that we kind of are accustomed to now, you can get into it, and now's a perfect time. Yeah.
Right. It's about outsourcing, right? I mean, that's why we put this group together, Crypto Insight. That's is all about. We have experts for different industries, and we can network you. We can put you together, with the right people to make your dream come true. Whatever thing you want to build, is it an app or a website or something related with crypto in general? You just want to start something. This is a good community to join in. And yeah, before we change topic, how about you, 2K? Can I get your opinion on if it's too late to get started with crypto?
Oh, definitely not too late. Sure. Yeah, definitely not too late. I think, to Teddy's point, not only is it the perfect time, it's early, right? So there's early adoption. There's a lot of space to educate yourself, to really understand what's going on before all of the different types of thoughts and ideas and all that are poured into the space. You can kind of get into it at a pure state, if you will. So yeah, it's never too late. It's kind of like the internet and all of these big things, email and all of these disruptive industries. So an exciting time for sure.
Okay, look at that. This is exciting too, right? It's we're making it happen, right? Let's get more people involved in crypto. And last but not least, I just want to say what do you want to walk away? I mean, what do you want the audience to walk away with? Like, what can you guarantee they're gonna be walking away out of this after this live stream? Let me pass it on to you, QK.
Definitely. So from this live stream, you're definitely going to get an intro on the basics, right? So if you've heard about crypto and not really sure, or if you heard about it and you're just like, I don't know enough, you're going to at least know enough to where, okay, I can move forward. Or you may have already heard about it and wanting to get some like clarity or some security on what you're going to be actually doing with your crypto. You'll also get that here as well from all three of us, actually. And it's not just a biased opinion. Obviously, we are all obsessed. But I don't say biased because we also are knowledgeable in our own industries and traditional backgrounds. Me being from legal, Teddy being from the different media, and also with Rian being in finance, because they also work in tandem. So all of our backgrounds kind of give a different nuance to crypto, and people walk away with not only the crypto knowledge, but our backgrounds as well.
Perfect. Thank you, QK. How about you, Teddy?
Yeah, I also want to mention too, like, since like QK said, I have a media background. I'm so excited about the future of blockchain because for a creator, there's so many more opportunities now, even with financially being financially stable and all that. So like, what do we hope to take away from this today, right? I'm just so excited because there's a lot of people out there that, like I said, they're scared of it. And I'm here to kind of let them know, like, it's not something to be scared about. You know, definitely you're at the right time. It's not too late. And I hope, as I said, this is just the beginning. Today's just the beginning, kind of introducing to stuff. And then if you keep coming back, if we just monthly, we'll get more and more detail of more and more knowledge, and just want to help everybody.
That's good.
That's amazing. How about you, Ryan? How are you doing?
Yeah, I echo the same thing. Basically, go over kind of the beginners, kind of crack a little bit of like light on the darkness that is crypto, right? That makes it kind of dark and scary, and help to understand it's not really that crazy. It's very, very practical. A lot of the uses for it, and it's here to stay. And now's the time to get in.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, guys. Thank you, panelists, for sharing your opinion, and I'm happy that everyone is here. And also, I wanted to just say, hey, please, guys, enjoy it. Everyone who's watching, I want to thank everyone for making the time for you guys to learn. We're gonna make sure we deliver to you guys, and you guys walk out of this live stream with something. So you guys can always contact us, and we can always answer any questions. Also, we are monitoring our live streams, so you guys can put your comments in there. We're gonna have Q&A section. So yeah, I mean, before we get started, let me just break it down, right? It's like, how are we gonna break this live stream? So in the first section, we're gonna have the Crypto 101. So everyone who's watching, you can stay for the first section if you just want to learn about crypto. But if you really want to get crazy and you want to know if it's legal or not, you got to stay tuned for the second section, and then that's where QK is going to be talking about it's illegal, not legal, especially if you already got started with crypto and you want to know, where is my money at? Like, should I bring it over, because I'm using a different exchange, which is not here in the States, but it's somewhere else. Is it legal, not legal? And then, but now for all those people, right, you want to save taxes, right? So that's why you got to stay tuned to listen to Rian. Rian is going to be covering all about the accounting side of it, right? So especially, I know that the crypto space is all over the world. It's decentralized, right? So it's good to know, and how every country have different regulations. Every country have different laws, but it's being adopted. Look at El Salvador, and we also have Ukraine now. It's like those are the first two countries that accepted Bitcoin. So if like just have that as reference. Why are these two countries already get started with Bitcoin? So, well, and then we're gonna be covering that in the next series. So please, I'm just gonna get started, and then we're gonna go into the next session, which is we're just gonna dive into Crypto 101. So here I'm gonna pass the mic over to Ryan and Teddy. So they're gonna be covering all about it. Thank you guys again.
And we're live.
Oh,
Got it.
right.
Yeah, we're doing. Do kind of want to touch on just like what Lewis was saying. Like on YouTube, you guys can research a lot of different information about it. I think what's beneficial about this series is the legal side, and the tax side. You got a lawyer here and a finance director here that can answer the questions like that. So when I've been studying and scouring the internet, so this information is kind of hard to come by. So I think it's a good opportunity. And also, why watch live? Well, watching live, you're able to ask questions in person instead of just listen to video and try to do your own research about answers. So it's just very beneficial to always tune in live. Of course, you can always watch the replay if you're not able to make it every month. So I just want to kind of throw that out there. But I know, Ryan, you're going to kick this off. Show off the first couple slides. We're just going to talk about financing in general. Like, what is money? What's the difference? Why mess with crypto instead of fiat currency? So what's the benefits, man?
Yeah. So can everyone hear me? Yep. Okay.
Gotcha.
So yeah, basically crypto is kind of 101 is to talk about the things you can do with crypto. I'm also going to delve into a little bit of understanding money, what money is, what is inflation, banking, and then kind of how crypto alleviates that, and then going into Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, kind of hand it off to Teddy for that. So let's go to the first slide. So what can you do with crypto? There's all kinds of things you can do. You can buy and sell art. You can do gaming. You can earn interest on your assets, 14% or more a year. And so when I say buy and sell art, you can do things where you can sell it as a non-fungible token where you can have ownership, and if it's sold, you get a 5% commission every time it's sold after that. Gaming with cryptocurrency, you can do things from as advanced as World of Warcraft or as simple as Tetris. But that's also on the blockchain now, where you can play to earn. And the cool thing is, where before the world we were in, if you played a game, you'd earn rewards in the game and you could reinvest it, but that was all you could do. Now with gaming cryptocurrency, you can also turn that into US dollars, or you can reinvest it into the game itself. So another thing amazingly with cryptocurrency is the interest that you can earn. 14% is kind of a conservative number, which sounds wild because banks offer maybe 1%, 2% if it's a really amazing savings account. But you can do 14% or even up to 50% or 100 APY per year off of interest earned for crypto. Another thing too, when I was talking about NFTs is art and selling. Really, I look at that as exploration of the technology. Eventually, what will happen is that will be used to sell homes or real life items like a vehicle. So next thing, what I want to talk about is kind of understanding the perception of money and how that plays into crypto. So money is essentially the unit of perception that we value goods or services. So if we want to pay somebody to do something, or if we want to buy a good, money, US dollars is how we measure how much we're going to, what it's going to cost us to do those things. So because of that, every time that inflation happens, it decreases that perception of money and makes it makes you have less purchasing power. So inflation basically is the rate at which the dollar purchasing power goes down, but the price of goods goes up. So we saw in 2020 where they print a lot of money, and it's usually delayed. It is delayed. So now we're seeing about 2 years later, the price of goods continue to go up. But we probably haven't got a raise that's over 5 to 10%, and we also probably aren't having income increases that are the same percentage of these cost increases of goods. So part of the reason for the issue with inflation is it comes from banking and legislation. So when we went off the gold standard in 1971, you may have heard a lot of influencers or people in the space talk about that. Essentially what that did is it made it to where when we printed money before 1971, we had gold that backed up that value of the money. When we went off of that gold standard in 1971, we essentially said, hey, we're making a promise that this dollar is worth something, and that's it. So every time we print money, it becomes harder and harder for the US to back that promise of the value of that dollar.
Wow, right. So you're saying that our money now is not backed by anything, but our magic
it's not backed by anything.
Money is pretend, even though it has a TVL to total value locked. But okay, I'm following. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's crazy. But yeah, it's essentially just one big promise, and then every time they print, it becomes harder and harder to fulfill that promise.
Right, and inflation, with the minimum wage never going up, inflation's going up more and more and more. It's becoming more and more worthless as time goes on, for sure. And what do you mean when we say fiat currency? Can you explain that real fast? Like, what is fiat currency? Yeah,
so fiat currency is basically the U.S. dollar, or it could be the euro, or it could be the Chinese like yuan. So fiat is essentially just a government printed currency that is either backed by something or backed by the promise of the government, and that's what allows you to pay someone in U.S. dollar, and then they accept it, right? You try to give them leaves, they go, leaves aren't worth anything, or whatever, or some other substance. They're like, no, it's not backed by anything. But the reason why U.S. dollars, euros, the digital yuan or whatever are accepted is because they have a promise or an entity behind them that says they're worth something. But the issue is that the entity, like the United States or the Federal Reserve, if they go off the range and start printing money over and over again, it decreases the value.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so talked about the banking flaws. So crypto, what I was talking about, you can do gaming, you can earn a lot of interest on it. You can do NFTs, art. I told you eventually that's what I think will be how you sell houses, right? So that's a good example of removing the middleman. So crypto, a lot of ways I look at that is it removes the middle person. So if you were to buy a home in the future, 20 years from now, currently it would be you get a mortgage and you talk to a title company. In the future, it'll be you send crypto to a wallet, you get an NFT of that home, and then that's how you show ownership in the future. You won't have to go through an abstract update or weeks of anything. It'll be pretty much instantaneous. You get the crypto for the home, you get the NFT of the home, and that's it. It'll become a trustless versus trusted society. And what I mean by that is trustless means you don't have to have someone's permission to complete something, versus a trusted society is you need someone's permission to complete something.
Right. And you're talking about now, you said the word NFT. I know we're going to dive more deep into that later on in the upcoming months and stuff. So non-fungible token, when you hear NFT, people think pictures. I can just download that. Why would I download that? I know we'll talk a little more about blockchain, but NFT in the future is going to be the future COA. Right. So like you're saying, like, so right now we sign everything on paper and that's held up in court. That's printed out, our signature. But now we're gonna have a more secure digital way, just like everything in the future is going digital. And now currently cryptocurrency and currency will not only just currency, but like you said, legal documents as well using the blockchain. Amazing.
Yeah, and kind of like a good example of how our world's becoming more and more digital, right? So like paying for things, NFTs being digital. If you were in a car in the 1990s, you would have had like a paper map. You would have had a CD driving places, right? Now you talk to Siri or have a GPS take you somewhere. You have everything on a phone that's playing music and telling you where to go. How we pay for those things is going to become digital as well. So it's not going to become paper. 20 years from now, we're going to have our grandchildren are going to go, hey, grandpa, granddad, did you pay people with like this? And they took it and gave you something back. It's going to be like how we have cell phones and cassette tapes. Is what
might as well just rip this in half. So I might as well just rip that in half. It's a relic, man. Look at that. This is out of print already. Shoot, when was this printed here? Like 1977. This right here, this value, what it's now worth like $20. This is the $20 value now because it just keeps going up and up and up. So, and like we already are in digital currency. I mean, when we get paid, it gets sent to our bank account. What's really backing that? The trust that it's worth something. So, the same. You hear the people that talk about cryptocurrency, magic internet money, and everything like that. We were already in the world of digital finance. But
I agree. But we don't. A lot of people don't really realize that that's where we're already. Pretty much, we've got like they don't realize we actually have 1 foot already in this digital finance world already, like deeply entrenched in this digital finance world. The way that we use Cash App, Venmo right now, where we scan QR codes to send currency money to people right now, it'll be the same exact process with cryptocurrency. We'll scan QR codes, send crypto from one phone to another phone. And instead of Cash App and Venmo being like a middle intermediary for a bank, it'll just be me to the next person that I'm actually transacting with. There won't be any layers. And that's what creates all the fees, is all these middlemen that have the layers, right? You have Cash App, then you have the bank, then you have their Cash App, their bank, and each person is taking out fees at every corner of that transaction.
And it takes like 3 or 4 business days because you're going through the middleman. It has to approve, process, agree to, and then they can decide on their operating hours, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, if they're going to approve that transaction. So now it's given that freedom back to our hands. It's just revolutionary, everyone. That's what I'm just saying. So it's nothing. It's how we live life now. It's just more in the digital age. And as years go on, it's going to be easier and easier to understand. Applications come faster. So it's just to understand it now. You don't have to be too invested in it right now, but to at least have an understanding. It's a great opportunity right now just to get started on learning.
All right. So I talked about kind of what you can do with crypto, right? So like gaming, you can earn interest on it. You can buy and sell art. And there's all kinds of different applications that are coming for crypto as well. Talked about money. It's a unit of perception that we value goods and services. Kind of talked about inflation, how that takes away that purchasing power and increases the prices of goods. And then how crypto kind of removes that middleman that can take away that ability to do all these things that we're seeing, right? Like across the world, where people can't pay for Netflix in Russia right now because they're banned from using money. And it's not necessarily because they did anything wrong, it's just because people disagree with their country. But yeah, hand it over to Teddy to talk about blockchain and more about Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, and the evolution of that.
Yeah, well, jump in with me here on this kind of like we don't want to get too into the science and tech of this stuff. I understand because this is stuff you can kind of do your research on, look up. So we just kind of want to touch base on it in QK and talk more about smart contracts and blockchain, especially with the legal side. So I'm just going to kind of briefly run over this. Like, what is this blockchain? Blockchain is the new internet. How the internet revolutionized everything 30 years ago. It was invented, I think, in the 70s with the government stuff, but for consumer base, it started in the 90s, and just how it was adopted. And back then, even the internet, I'll talk a little more about this in a second, but just how it was different and it's kind of scary, right? So blockchain's not just for currency. It's going to be changing everything, like Ryan was just talking about, the COA, certificate authentication, all that stuff, and their deeds and things. It will change how we handle our day-to-day lives. So what is it? The interesting thing about blockchain, it was invented through a cryptocurrency as Bitcoin. So Bitcoin invented the blockchain, and it's going to be responsible for the next wave of the internet, which is that people are calling Web 3. And I'll get to Web 3 in a second. So what is it? It's basically a collection of records. So you have hundreds and thousands of transactions on a block, and it's permanently there, and it's recorded. Anybody in the world can have access to that information, and it's secure into the blockchain. Okay, it can't be backtracked. Okay, you can't take your deed document, shred in the paper, and it's no longer holds up in court. It is secure. It's more secure. Okay, so it's basically a collection of records. Bitcoin itself is a record of transactions, also known as what we know today as a ledger. Okay, so let me just jump right into what is Web 3. So there's no encyclopedia on the internet now of saying like what is tech, what is Web3. So the general consensus of what is Web3, this right here is my personal opinion of kind of where Web 1, Web 2, Web 3 began and ended. Like I said, the internet came around, was used by the government in the 70s. So more consumer-based internet was in 1990 to 2005. Web 1, which was known as the read era, where we got onto the internet and we got our information from the internet. So this kind of little visual examples here, visual aids of like Netscape, excuse me, and AOL. We would get on there and they were kind of designed like a newspaper. You go to AOL's page, find out your news, read it, get information. Same thing with MSN. And then we kind of had a revolution with search engines where you can actually go onto Google and find a website. And back then there's probably 20,000 websites. That sounds familiar. 20,000 cryptocurrencies. How many websites are there today? Maybe over 1 million around the world. And it's like, yeah, Yahoo, Google, that was kind of the final stage of Web 1. We had search engines and we consumed the internet. And I have, real quick. So I have a visual aid, a video for that. Just kind of show you guys an example of where we are now, how scary it is, but how this was back in 1995, after it's already been out for the consumers for about 5 years. Are we hearing the audio for that?
No, I'm not hearing it either. Yeah, no audio.
And if not, that's okay. I threw these videos at LCube last night, so they're trying to help me out with the help visual aid. So
On the fly, yeah.
So what that video was showing, and you guys look it up. Look up. Actually, we could probably put it in the chat.
Yeah,
Once, yeah, I'll put it in the chat for you guys. Like once I'm done, kind of talking about that. Oh, can I play it? Let's see. They say I can play it.
You might be able to play it.
Let's see if I go to the next slide.
Enable CC.
And then I play it here. But I'm not getting the audio. That's fine. I'll just talk over it.
I'm not getting it either.
Okay, let me go back to this. All right, so I'll just let this play here for a second. So what they're talking back here, like, check it out, the title of the thing, Flashback, the Internet 1995. You guys want to look that up, and I'll still put the link in it's like later. I was going to show us a minute of this. They're just talking about, trying to explain like what is the @ symbol. They were so confused back then of like what the A was, and like they want to know what is internet. And then Bill Gates pops up right here talking about, you know, it's the hip thing to be on, you know, be on the internet. And they're saying by the year 2000, businesses will have their own website by the year 2000. Like that's insane back then. That's just crazy talk. And so like the reason I show this stuff is like, because everything cryptocurrency and just blockchain is intimidating right now because it's something that's brand new to us. But we all have lived through this before, especially if you're in your 30s and 40s. But I know people in their 20s have lived through what's called the Web 2 era. And I'll just go back to that slide. Okay, so what is Web 2? Web 2 is around the years 2005 to 2020, where it became the read-write era, where we participated in the internet. We didn't just consume information. We participated through Facebook, even MySpace, posting stuff, making profiles, adding our data to the internet. Okay. And like, yeah, we became content creators, but we would upload to a server of Google, would own YouTube, you know, Facebook, billion-dollar companies that took our data, took our information, and made money off us. Now with YouTube, there's content creators that make some money. Of course, you know, you get 5 million views. They might give you a little change, give you little sprinkles of cash, $500, while they're raking in 50 grand off of ads off of you. Okay, so this is why this is so revolutionary. What is Web 3? Web 3 will be the read, write, own. Okay, we will own a piece of the internet through NFTs. Right now, we're even just getting how baseball cards and stuff, trading cards, you actually own a digital asset. you will own pieces of GameFi, which is how you play to earn. You will actually play games online, and you will earn cryptocurrencies, money through that. Would that become, things that we can exchange in the world, or become currency through another means? Yes, like all this is true. So what I have there's an image there that you got, might be new to you guys, these logos. The B, the orange B, is Bitcoin. To the right, the little sailboat is OpenSea. So that's right now the #1 NFT open market. It's like the eBay for markets, where you go and bid, you can buy NFTs. And the little space guy in there is called Odyssey, which is a YouTube streaming platform where you can actually tip content creators, and content creators can earn a certain cryptocurrency called Library, LBRY, that they can turn into, real fiat currency later. So you are getting paid directly to you, the stream. So and now not only does the video not just upload to Google's mainnet server, and they have access, they have control over it. Your video will also go to multiple different computers around the world, and you actually have it through the blockchain technology. And I have some couple question marks there, because we are just getting started. This is just, the past couple years, and we will keep evolving. And like I said, it'll be easier and easier, just how Ryan talked about using PayPal, Venmo. And that's just the currency side of Web3 and blockchain. So like I said, that's just kind of talk a little bit about our introduction today. It's kind of about what all this is. But I thought this is a good visual aid to kind of show like where we came from, where we're going. And there's another video, I'll put a link in there too, of Mark Zuckerberg in 2008. So Facebook was started in 2004. So it was already 4 years old, and you got 60 minutes trying to figure out what a friend request is. Oh, someone found me. I got a friend request. To us, that's everyday life now. And 5 to 10 years, we're going to be saying the same thing about cryptocurrency. You think we try to play the video again? Okay. They're going to try one time here. So I'm not sure how to get the audio, y'all. So
maybe you need Lewis on.
Make it full screen.
StreamYard for it.
I'm in full screen. Enable. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Unavailable is telling me. That's okay. Like I said, I threw this at everybody last minute. Oh, I need to go to the next slide anyway. Okay. Which is right there. Okay. So we talked about the kind of finance situations going on in the world, blockchain technology, how it can change the future a little bit. So what exactly is Bitcoin? People hear cryptocurrency. What's all in the news right now is Bitcoin. And so a lot of you probably heard of Ethereum or know all about it. So we're kind of starting from the basics. I know a lot of people that are streaming this right now kind of have a basic understanding of that. So what is Bitcoin? Well, it's a store of value that invented the blockchain technology. The white paper came out in 2008. It was released in 2009. And now, Brian, do you know what the value of it is today?
It's hovering basically, let's see.
Like 46,000 or something like that.
40,000, 41,000, 42,000.
41,000. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also known as, it can be, if we talk about a medium of exchange, is also a unit of account. Okay. So really it's a store of value. It's the equivalent of the digital gold, how we have gold as a value, right? But do we actually go around exchanging pieces of gold and stuff? No, but there is value to it. And I think we'll talk more and more about this. There's webinars in more detail. But Ryan, what do you want to add anything to like what is Bitcoin just in general?
Yeah, like basically what you're talking about. It's became a big store of value, and a lot of it is because of it's a finite amount of those are going to be made, right? Peer-to-peer, I think it's going to be eventually what's going to be the world currency, basically, in a way. And I think that's why Satoshis are why they've broken them down to that kind of unit. Yeah.
So yeah, what he's saying is it's broken down to 0.0001, like it's called Satoshi. So Satoshi Nakamoto is the guy who invented Bitcoin. We don't know if it's a person, male, female, group of people. Nobody knows. But it's pretty much how it is becoming the gold standard now, of cryptocurrencies. A lot of the cryptocurrencies will follow how Bitcoin moves. The other thing I could talk about real quick is like people go, well, should I own Bitcoin? I think it's always a good idea to own some Bitcoin, but if people get scared by the price, you do not have to own a full Bitcoin, but it'll always go up in value, it'll always be worth something. And I think it's a good investment to have. Now I put over time personally $1,000 in the Bitcoin, and I stopped. I own 2% of a Bitcoin, right? Paying it over time. And so that way I have a piece of it, but there's other opportunities, and we'll talk more in the future about other cryptocurrencies and coins and tokens and what's the difference between coins and tokens and things like that. So people usually get scared, but like, I can't afford a Bitcoin. Maybe you don't have to, have to own Bitcoin. So Bitcoin was, peer-to-peer transaction invented back then. And then Ethereum off Bitcoin became a whole new world opened up with cryptocurrency. So it was released in 2015. It's an individual network ecosystem that invented the smart contract platform using blockchain technology. So using the blockchain, we already created something else called smart contracts. And what is smart contract? It pretty much is exactly what it says it is. It's going to be a digital contract that's kind of going in with the COAs or the deeds, and they're going to use the smart contract platform and make NFTs out of like the deeds for your house and things like that in the future. So this was huge. This right here changed the game. Not only we just had peer-to-peer currency, with Bitcoin having a store of value, something that's worth something. Now we have stuff that it can actually use to the blockchain technology. And I know QK can talk a lot about this kind of stuff. What is Ethereum? It runs on its native cryptocurrency called Ether, which is short for ETH. ETH is short for Ether, so ETH. So when you hear people talk about I own some Ethereum, what they're talking about is they own some Ether. Okay, so Ethereum is the network blockchain, and the actual cryptocurrency that you hold is called Ether. Okay, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah. So kind of in a nutshell, how I look at like Bitcoin will replace the banking traditional finance system, and Ethereum will replace kind of the smart contract, decentralized finance, and be that. So a lot of people say like it'll cut out completely attorneys from that. It'll cut out a lot of them, and it'll make you have to be able to understand smart contracts and blockchain as an attorney. And if you don't understand that in the future, that'll be the issue. Same thing for CPAs, accountants, basically every industry. It'll take out a lot of people doing the grunt work, and they'll just have to be able to oversee it, consult, and understand the system.
Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next slide. Up. Things get a little wild on me. Hang on. Okay, so we already touched a little bit about this, Ryan. So this will be like what makes Bitcoin so valuable. I'm gonna let Ryan answer this one.
So what makes Bitcoin so valuable is it's there's only a finite amount that's going to be made, which is 21 million. The reason why that is so substantial is the US dollar has like $3.9 trillion, and they're going to continue to print more. So for instance, just for something, if you want to, on your free time, look up the Federal Reserve's balance sheet, and you'll see it keeps going inflating. And that's because they keep printing money. And as they keep doing that, it's going to make the cost of everything go up, which the cool thing about that is if you own Bitcoin, every time they print money, it's going to make your Bitcoin naturally more valuable. Even if Bitcoin doesn't do any more.
Are you breaking up? I think. Yeah, he's lagging a little bit. One thing I would talk about too. Okay, I think you're back now. Yeah, there you are. I want to point out too, talking about the printing of the money. Yeah, we got you. Uh-oh. Oh no. You there?
Me?
So
yeah.
What was interesting to do, I think you're back now. Yeah, talk about that 25% too of the Federal Reserves. I think that'll be interesting little fun fact that I know a lot of people know about, but some people might not know, a printing of money in just the past few years?
Yeah, so March 2020, we had a big crash, right? The Corona crash. When that happened, they did this thing called PPP loans for businesses, where they basically said, "Hey, we'll cover your business's payroll. You just apply for this loan." And then they also give out stimulus payments to a lot of people, right? So to be able to do that, to do the PPP loan, to cover businesses and to give out stimulus packages to people, they had to print money to do that. They didn't just have a reserve that they had a bank account for a rainy day and broke that open to pay that money out. They printed new money to do that. And so at the time, people that either got a bailout through getting a payroll covered are really happy, thinking like, "Hey, this is great." If you just got laid off and you got a stimulus payment, that's great. But the issue is, in the short term, it's good. It can seem great, but in the long term, it's really bad because it increases the prices of every good. So yeah, on the forefront, you get a really good payment, but on the back end, you're paying way more for goods and services than you would have before.
Crazy. I mean, it's
I don't
kind
know
of,
if that was maybe a little long-winded. Yeah.
this is just right there shows to me personally, like, I mean, we're in the greatest wealth transfer in human history, like how everything's just gonna change. And I think we're all sick and tired of just being pushed down constantly by just, the government in general and everybody. So this is such a great opportunity. And that's why I'm so excited. Like I said, I'm not a computer programmer. I'm just pretty much a content creator and video specialist I have passion for this. So I'm saying, like, as you, Ryan, I know we know each other. You're a finance director and everything. This is your world. So like, I'm excited about this, and just kind of it's just crazy to be a part of something for the first time, just like human history of something of this magnitude. So it's just a great time to be alive for sure. So, so why? That's crazy, the thing too. It's like, so we have 20,000 cryptocurrencies, right? And we can talk more about that later. I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off. What's that? Go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. Well, yeah, basically what you're talking about, that it's exciting, right? It's a huge wealth transfer. Like what's happened, right? I was working a corporate job until the first of this year, and now because of cryptocurrency, I'm able to basically do what I'm doing on my own. And kind of in a way, I look at like I'm buying back my time.
That's a wonderful way to put it, man. Heck yeah. So the second question I have on the slide here is, why does it currently control cryptocurrency? So like, there's 20,000 cryptocurrencies out there, tokens. Not a lot of them are not just for currency purposes. And just like how there's a lot of like thousands of websites.
Back over to you, Teddy.
What's that?
Yeah, it's kind of similar, right? Like the amount of cryptocurrencies currently versus the amount of websites like in the mid-90s, early 2000s.
Right. Yeah. So like a lot of those went away, and we have the same thing with that, because a lot of people say like, "Hey, there's 20,000. Like, well, how do I know what's going on?" Everything like that. Like, a lot of them will fall off. So there's no utility behind it. There's no purpose behind that. Yeah, they will fall off. So my question to you, Ryan, you can answer this one, is like, yeah, why does BTC currently control cryptocurrencies? Because we always follow the Bitcoin charts and how a lot of other coins and tokens move, with Bitcoin. Yeah, so the easiest way for me to explain like how I look at Bitcoin and why it controls the market is, it's kind of like the ocean or the river. So every time it rains, it raises that ocean, raises that river, and so it raises all the ships that are in that river in that ocean. And Bitcoin to me is the ocean. It is the river. So if it goes up, pretty much everything else is going to go up. If it goes down, it also controls the market, and things will be reflexive and go down. And kind of a technical reason for why that is a lot of cryptocurrencies have a pairing liquidity-wise to Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin's going down, it's going to make that liquidity pairing US dollar-wise value go down as well, for the most part. I don't know if that may be a little too much, but yeah. Let's see. All right. Okay. Oh yeah. Like we're just going to touch on this. Like I said, something people can look up and research. A lot of information out there of proof of work and proof of stake. So currently right now when Bitcoin was invented, it was going off of a proof of work system. And this is where you guys might hear in the news of Elon Musk talking about it and everyone kind of griping, and people that are trying to make cryptocurrency look bad. They're using proof of work as a way of why it's destroying the environment. So it's the old way of doing it where, just kind of read the slides here. The mining capacity depends on computational power. So what that means is it takes a lot of energy, a lot of electricity to actually mine Bitcoin. And proof of work is already, even though it came out in 2008, it was invented, it's already almost like a primitive technology in a way, how fast everything moves. And so a lot of things, we're moving away from proof of work and going into proof of stake. So currently the two big dogs of Bitcoin and Ethereum are currently on a proof of work system. So it takes a lot of energy to mine it. And then as each transactions, a miner has to solve a complicated math problem, and they receive a reward. They receive a piece of crypto. They receive a piece of Bitcoin, Ethereum. They get rewarded. So they're getting paid that to provide the transactions. So it's a massive energy consumption and is prone to 51% attack. So if somebody can hack into 51% of the entire network, which is right now probably virtually impossible, but in the future it could be possible with more and more and more technology, we could have problems on our hands. With proof of stake system, which is a lot of these newer ecosystems, Ethereum invented the smart contract platform and has its own ecosystem. I have a next slide that kind of shows other ecosystems are kind of up and coming. Same thing, we started off just with search engine with Yahoo or AskJeeves.com, and then Google was the one that kind of just took it to the next level, and that's kind of what we all use. So this year, Ethereum is switching over to the proof of stake system. So what is that? It's validating capacity. It depends on the stake in the network. So validators, they go from miners to validators. So it's a different way of processing these transactions. So they don't receive a block reward, a piece. Instead they collect transaction fees as rewards. And a lot of these ecosystems, if you're kind of invested into the network, you yourself can get like a certain 0.002% of all these transactions. So you yourself can get rewards. So they're not just rewarding miners, they're rewarding investors and validators. So this helps also too with having a 51% hack attack. It's just a more safer, secure way of handling with proof of stake. Like I said, Ethereum's moving over. Ryan, you might know better than me on this. With blockchain, or sorry, not blockchain, but Bitcoin, would it ever move to proof of stake? It's just, I think it's just kind of how it is. It's just built. That's the way.
It's just kind of how it's built. Yeah. I mean, it could, but I don't think like in the future will be proof of stake. But I don't think necessarily like Bitcoin will. But that's why like you have to have a lot of money to get into mining Bitcoin now and be profitable, right? Because you're competing against all these other miners with the best technology that's trying to solve that puzzle as fast as possible to get that block of Bitcoin. You have a lot of people that are competing for that now. So really, I think proof of stake is going to be the future for everything except for Bitcoin. I think proof of work is just going to be what Bitcoin's going to be for like in our time, basically.
Yeah. And just to say, the scarcity of Bitcoin, the value of it, it will always hold value. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It will still be, as far as we could see now into the future, it will always be king. Yeah.
And the reason why they always say like you can't shut down Bitcoin, Bitcoin's the most decentralized cryptocurrency, is because this mining the way to make the nodes and the mining equipment is all open source. So there's no like book running you can do in one country or anything like that to stop the ability to create the mining for it. And all the mining equipment is basically all around the world. You'd have to have every country ban Bitcoin mining in its country to stop Bitcoin. Man, that's not something that's going to happen.
And that's a good point to make.
Same thing with other cryptocurrencies too.
Yeah, everyone's afraid like the government can shut this down. They can make things illegal. They can make it illegal for maybe to go through certain exchanges and accumulate more. But once you have it, you have it. And that stuff, we might even go through like a 6 month, a year block, and even in the United States where we're from, where they could, ban certain things. But China's banned Bitcoin how many times now? At least 10.
A lot. And even give like a real world example for the US. The US actually banned gold, like having gold after we went off the gold standard for a little bit, because kind of a similar thing, right? Like they're like, oh, gold's going to be worth way more versus our currency, so we don't want you to jump ship and go to gold or hold it. And that's what's going to happen with cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is eventually people are going to really realize, hey, this other thing is worth way more, and this other currency is going to continue to erode in value. So they'll maybe probably ban cryptocurrency or restrict access to it, or say, hey, you have to be a very smart, a sophisticated investor to get into cryptocurrency. They'll gatekeep it, basically, essentially.
Wow. So I'll move into the other ecosystems that we're talking about with Ethereum. Ethereum, created a smart contract platform. It is the biggest network right now, but it's run into its own problems now. With just like with the credit card transactions, you pay fees, or certain like businesses have to pay a certain percentage of fees. It's called gas fees, and we're going to talk more in detail about this in the future. Like, what is gas fees? Why is there certain prices? So Ethereum right now, it grew so big so fast. They are trying to fix things where things are really expensive to move Ethereum around, and now there'll be other ecosystems coming up that already exist that are going to compete with Ethereum. So just same thing. First one through the wall is the bloodiest, right? Like they had to, knock it down to kind of create this, and then other people will what's called they fork off their own blockchain and create their own ecosystem. So some competitors coming up right now where you can have a transaction of Ethereum. If you pass $1,000 to $100,000, it could be like a $20 to $60 transaction, where on some of these networks, the transaction fees can be fractions of a penny. But Ethereum's still king. Can anything overtake Ethereum? And only time will tell. But I just want to have this slide to kind of show like stuff that we will talk about in the future. We'll talk more about the other individual network ecosystems and how they kind of work. You can kind of look at an ecosystem, not just an ecosystem, but a network ecosystem as like its own solar system. How we have the sun, which is like in these ecosystems will be like either native coin, and they have all these other planets that revolve around that native system, its own solar system, that do individual different things. And every network ecosystem has the same kind of thing. They might have a decentralized exchange where you exchange swap coins, you can stake, all this kind of stuff. So we'll dive deeper into that in the future. But I also want to show you some names here of other networks that's coming up. And a lot of these, probably half of these will be gone in 3 years. And the other half will be more of a common household name. Last slide of the Crypto 101.
Yeah.
Just kind of want to talk, Ryan, what's want to talk about here about just notable exchanges that are out there. Because when we leave you guys here until the next presentation, I want to go and dive more deeper into like setting up a wallet and how to actually go through and purchase exchanges. And I appreciate you guys filling out the questionnaires before. We have to take a look at that and see a lot of you guys are set up through different exchanges. So these are just some notable ones on here just to keep an eye out for that. I personally use 5 of these. I don't use Binance, but I really enjoy the top 4 up there. Kraken, especially for staking and earning interest on your cryptocurrency. KuCoin's site is more kind of like a day trading looking site. And Gemini, just keep in mind, it's pretty much only on the Ethereum networks. If you buy certain coins and tokens, say for other ecosystems, you are buying an Ethereum token on Gemini. I believe Coinbase is the same too. I think that's the same. Ryan, you might know that. I think that's just all Ethereum based tokens. Oh no, is he frozen? Ryan, you there? Ryan? Okay.
Yeah, Coinbase is basically is Ethereum based tokens. Gemini is Ethereum based. Kraken, you can actually, as far as I know, you can actually get the actual network. Okay. Oh, am I frozen?
Yeah, I think there's been some lag going on.
It's my Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, basically thing for staking on Kraken. I don't use Binance. I don't use FTX. I use MetaMask as well, and is so that you don't have one fiat/US dollar on ramp and off ramp, right? So some of the things we've seen with countries like Russia and Canada is if there's a centralized exchange like Coinbase, and so that's the only one you use, they could actually go in and tell Coinbase to freeze your wallet. But if you had multiple wallets, right, one on Kraken, a little bit on KuCoin, Kraken, you still have 2 or 3 other avenues to be able to get your money in or out of the digital space, which is very important. The times we're getting in, having more and more ability to have options like that or flexibility is the key.
Awesome. Well, I know we'll pass it on. I mean, I don't know if we're taking a little break or what, but we're going to move on to, there's Lewis.
So, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
We got you, man.
Amazing. Thank you. I was finishing up writing some notes right now. This content is amazing.
Yeah.
But hey,
Gotcha.
guys, you're telling me I can make money of that. I can start investing. Well, let's just be clear. We're not financial experts. Everything over here is just, as a disclaimer, we're just here to tell everybody how you can make some passive income, right? I think this opens the door to a lot of things, right? So you can get started by using the exchanges, or you can actually, if you're more advanced, you can actually start buying the equipment, like to do some proof of work, like start mining or start farming or staking. So there's a lot more terms I believe we're going to be covering down the series. But I just want to mention that there's a lot of ways of making money, right, guys? Using the cryptocurrencies, and that's why we later on down the path we're going to have Rian cover about how you can actually open some businesses, or use FIFO, HIFO, and I don't want to say it anymore because that's Ryan's presentation about how you can save taxes, right? So that's another thing to have in mind, because all this money that you can make using cryptocurrencies, people are, people can learn, right? People can learn and make money out of it. But you guys remember, we're still here in the States. We got to pay taxes on that.
Right. I want to add to that too, real quick. It's not, don't look at this as a quick scheme. This is a lot of patience. This is investing. This is patience. Yeah. Is there a way to make money overnight? Yeah, there is. But there's also a way to lose everything overnight. And I think we'll talk more detail about what's called shit coins. And a lot of people hear that in the news, want to invest in. So we kind of want to point people in the right direction and kind of why, these certain tokens and systems work. So I mean, there's ways to make money, but just don't ever look at it like, hey, I've been a month in, where's my thousands of dollars? It doesn't work that way. It can, but it's just like buying a lottery ticket if you want to play that kind of game.
Right. That's good to know. So hey guys, I want to we're gonna be approaching our break time. We're gonna take a 5-minute break. But before we do the 5-minute break, I just want to put up the slides. I'm going to introduce one of our sponsors. Thank you, guys. See you on the next session. I will be putting up the slide right now for one of our sponsors. And the first one is I want to thank Forholy. Forholy exists. It's, to help to grow closer to God and step into He's created them to be. We created products to help you smile, be more, and do great things with God. In other words, in simple words, this is a daily journal for you to spiritually connect with God. We're not a Christian company. We just like to support a lot of people, and they have been amazing people to us. And I want to do a big shout out to Forholy. They're giving us a limited time. We have a discount code in the below. It's, they're giving you 20% off. Use the promo code Crypto Insight, and then their website is there too. It's forholy.com. Just go grab a journal. Hey, it's the support is there. Just help a local business in here. We like the support. We like to collaborate with a lot of businesses. So if you're in the future, you would like to be part of it, our sponsors, please let us know. Just contact us, and we'd be glad to add you. But so we going to be taking 5 minutes. I'm sorry. We're gonna have the winners. We got the winners. My team is going to be announcing the winners right there. We have it underneath. We have 2 winners, I believe. Let's see. We have it on the screen right now. So we will be contacting you directly to get your contact information or where to ship everything. but this is great. Thank you guys. We'll be right back in 5.
They ain't nobody taking to school, thinking of, yeah. But I ain't no teacher, maybe a preacher, preaching the gospel to every creature. Hitting the streets is Susie and Key for all of these souls, and I'm trying to reach them. We got a light, just like a beacon, taking a church, just like a deacon. Got it in water, know it ain't leaking, know it ain't, yeah. Got that eat bread, you know we eating, singing and praising and dancing and leaping. All in the morning and noon and the evening, and we singing like, glory, glory, hallelujah, praising. Thank you, Jesus, great, is so amazing. Christ was born and made your way to living, yeah. Thought they had to bring you in this lady, undefeated on the throne of reign. Jesus Christ is ain't never changing. Had to teach him real quick, no rap like just a young rap guy that got baptized home and I may call that flatline. This is crazy. This is ill. Just get it drunk, get it drunk. Yeah. It's like, hallelujah. That's all I'm screaming. Sipping on the living water. That's how I'm feeling. Excuse me, get out of my way. I gotta go give a praise. My God is really great. Really don't care what you say. Hallelujah. That's all I'm screaming. Sipping on the living water. That's how I'm feeling. Excuse me, get out of my way. I gotta go give a praise. My God forever he reigns. Buddy, don't you feel the same? Amen, 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 amen. First I'm a church, my stay back then. So I'm all the way up in the seats back there. Hey brother, hey brother, hey brother, hey. You always turn it up every day. You gotta know what you trying to say. Like I ain't gonna go all out. Must be so hard, I'ma flow all out. Y'all ain't keeping it real, my God. You reveal my bro, he gon' show y'all out. Hey, speaking that truth, better close y'all mouth. Brother, hey, just spitting facts. Y'all need to get on my back. Just listen to which one I rap. Yeah, you're it. Hallelujah to my Father. Steady, straight up adversaries to my converse. Yeah, all the praises and the honor. Gotta give it to no other. Hallelujah. That's all I'm screaming. Sipping on the living water. That's how I'm feeling. Excuse me, get out of my way. I gotta go give a praise. I got this really great. Really don't care what you say. Hallelujah. That's all I'm screaming. Sipping on the living water. That's how I'm feeling. Excuse me, get out of my way. I gotta go give a praise. My God forever he reigns. Buddy, don't you feel the same? I didn't transition from like death to life. Like, man, I'm going straight up. I'm going all the way uphill. I don't even understand. I gotta sing praises. And God has been good to me. Hallelujah all the day long. Hosanna in the highest. That's above all. Above kings. King of kings and lords of lords. Yeah. That's just me, yo. I love you, God. Thank you for everything. Facts. Oh Lord, I need you, I can't live without you. Help me to trust in you and never doubt you. I hear what you say, you get through this pain. Hold on to my hands, don't you let go again. Every time I try by myself, really don't work out well. Man, it don't work out well. It really don't work out well. But I can't do it on my own. I really need your help. I really need your help, my God. I really need your help. Be still and know that I am God. Put your trust in me. Dodging all these bullets, adversaries said he bust at me. Gotta speak that truth, I don't care if you want me cussing me. Already got the victory, must be why these demons fussing me. Gotta lay it down, yeah. I'm trying to make it right here and now. Yeah. Yeah, I was there for what you say now. Brother, ain't no got a time to play around. No. Yeah. Oh Lord, I need you. I can't live without you. Help me to trust in you and never doubt you. I hear what you say. You get through this pain. Hold on to my hands, don't you let go again. I can't do this on my own. Please don't leave me alone. Please don't leave me alone. Please don't leave me alone. I can't do this on my own. Please don't leave me alone. Please don't leave me alone. Please don't leave me alone. Certain things I just can't do on my own, you know. My help comes from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer my foot to be moved, for he doesn't slumber nor sleep. Yeah. What y'all talking about? I'm little. Get this thing on the road. I'm covered by Jehovah. Jesus, keep me close. Protect me cause the devil trying to put me in a coma. That's why I'm like, no, sir. That's why I'm like, no, sir. They be trying to kill my buzz. I gotta let them know, bro.
Hey, welcome guys. I hope you guys had a chance to grab some water, take a break, get some fresh air and everything. I just want to tell everybody, just you still there's still a chance for you to win a giveaway. Please don't forget to register. This is going throughout the whole series, so please, you still got time before the big giveaway. So I'm just gonna get right on it. I'm gonna go. We're gonna get started with crypto law. We're gonna bring in QK into the stage. That's my girl right there.
Oh, hey.
There you go. And I'm
Yes.
looking for some legal advice, and I know you're the expert to go to. And then I'm pretty
I
sure you're
got
gonna have a lot more people lining up just to talk to you.
you. Oh.
I know you. I want you to do. I mean, if I just don't, I'm going to mute myself and I'm going to let you reintroduce yourself and tell them about everyone, this amazing audience that we have on live right now to learn about more about you. And please, guys, everyone who's listening, everyone who's right now on the live stream, please put your comments, like, subscribe to LCube Studios. We are monitoring the chat. So at the Q&A session, which is happening in next in a couple of minutes, we will be responding those questions. We will be asking the panelists the questions and they will be answering. So if you guys have anything, just write it down. I'm being writing questions down because I'm also learning over here. So hey, QK, it's all you.
Thank you, Louise. I
No problem.
appreciate the beautiful introduction, and thank you to LQ for putting this together. You guys are seeing some high-tech, beautiful streaming right now, and also to my social media fan that's watching, everybody that came on with the live, I appreciate y'all so much for supporting. So I'm going to jump right in because I can talk a lot. Right. And I know Ryan and Teddy just loaded y'all up with so much information, and I'm going to try my best to be a good second here and make sure that I'm giving you guys the best information, but also keep in mind, I stated this a little bit before in the intro, there is not a lot of regulation and legal around crypto right now, right? So what I'm going to do is give you a guide and kind of a background into, again, my traditional basically my traditional training, but also understand that crypto is very disruptive, just as an industry, just as a space, right? So there's a lot of things here that are just not solid yet, right? Crypto is a new thing for all of us when it comes to money, when it comes to legal, when it comes to accounting, when it comes to these things as far as how our country was basically built economically, right? So this is crypto law section of Crypto Insight Series 1. And I want to make sure that I reiterate that because we are going to be doing multiple of these, guys. So if some of these concepts are not clicking immediately or something comes off and you're like, what the heck are you talking about? Don't worry, we'll be back, right? So I am the founder of QKI Consulting, which is a consulting firm in Oklahoma City. I'm an Oklahoma-based licensed attorney. I specialize in business, consumer law, and consulting and compliance as well, right? So I started my firm about 3.5 years ago. I saw a big knowledge gap, especially in business with entrepreneurs and getting them on the right track. With the law firm, you kind of get that built in if you have enough money to go to a firm. But unfortunately, a lot of the creatives and small business owners that I know in my community don't have that kind of resource, or they don't have that kind of money, right? So I created this company to be able to consult and talk to people about the legalities of business ownership, right? There's a lot of things that you just don't know until you talk to someone. And so my consulting business is not just a business consultant, but I'm also an attorney who can help you if there's documents, contracting, and anything like that. And I just so happen to be obsessed with crypto, right? And a money enthusiast. So when I graduated law school, I was getting these big bonuses and I was like, okay, I need to figure this out. Also, I was listening to a lot of podcasts and information and I'm like, what is this money thing? I did a background in mortgage, but I want to know like how money works for individuals, not just on large scales or with homes and things like that. So that's kind of how I got into it and why I'm talking to you today, because 2020 hit, got obsessed with the crypto situation. Like Teddy said, being hit in the news. I heard about crypto before, but I was just like, I'm not sure about this Bitcoin thing, this crypto thing. What is this, right? And so I want to dive in kind of with the nuance of what crypto means and what it is. Let's see if I can get this. Yes. Okay, so first question, is crypto legal? So like I told you, I did a deep dive into crypto in 2020, 2 years ago, around this time, right? Pandemic anniversary. And what my first questions were, okay, I know how money works. I know what money is. I know how personal finance works. But what is this crypto thing? And basically, when I started looking into it, the basis of it is cryptographic encryption. Right, so cryptographic encryption has been around for a long time. If you're a coder or if you're in any of those technical circles that I am not in, you'll be familiar with that. But basically all it does is it scrambles information until it gets to the intended person. So you can pass that on a public, what Teddy was talking about before, a blockchain, right? So you're able to talk to each other through the blockchain on a public basis. But at the same time, you don't have to worry about the people who are seeing the transaction get the actual value inside of that transaction, right? So the cryptographic encryption will do that, and then the other person who it's intended for doesn't have it encrypted. So they're able to receive money or the documents or whatever it is that has been encrypted inside of your intended transfer. And that's kept track of on a ledger, which you can see through the blockchain. So there is a lot of security, one, because you have to know the code to unscramble the encryption in order to get to whatever it is that's inside of it. So money makes so much sense to be in this type of secure environment. The next thing is that there's other things outside of currency that can be done, because as we were talking about before, physical dollars are kind of a relic, right? So you don't really use cash that much in this society. Usually what you're doing is you're putting in .000s in a bank and it's all digital. So even when you pay through Cash App or Venmo, or you're doing a Zelle transfer or something like that. And let me not be putting all these companies in our live stream because they haven't supported us. Check us out, LCube, just in case. But basically, let me talk about like digital apps, right, where you can transfer money from institution to institution or even person to person. So basically what that is it's all digital. So you're not using a physical cash. You're not taking the cash to a person. It's all online already. The only difference with crypto is that it's giving you a more secure, and it's cutting out the middle person, like Ryan was talking about. You don't need a bank. You don't need an app. You don't need someone to be like, okay, store your money here and I'll transfer it for you. Basically, crypto is cutting it out to where you can just transfer it straight to the person. So say you have $10 in your crypto wallet. I want to send, or let me not say dollars, that's fiat currency. You have 10 BTC, which is Bitcoin, right? Or you have 10 Ethereum, or you have 10 Solana, right? The gas fees on Solana is a lot lower than Ethereum, just saying. So you can send Solana from one person to another, and there's no middle person. It's just done, right? And it's on the ledger, it's on the encryption, it's all done at once. So basically, crypto is like money, but like 3.0, right? So like how Teddy was talking about Web 1.0, 2.0, we're now at 3.0, but with money now, right? Because we've evolved with the internet, we've evolved with our technology. Let's our money catch up, right? And it's about that time anyway. And I'm going to dive into this a little bit because it kind of goes into this, because the next part I'm going to talk about is the illegality of kind of the crypto scaries, right? So a lot of people talk about, well, criminals are able to use crypto, and that's where it got really popular, and drug dealers and all this other business. The reason being is because there is no tracking with this, right? You don't see me. So when I send you my 10 BTC for a pizza, say for example, or if I was sending you my 10 BTC for a car or whatever it is that I'm sending it for based on the value, right? That we have agreed that this value is in exchange for said subject, which is the same thing we do with dollars, right? We've said that $10 will buy you a meal at McDonald's, but it won't buy you a house, right? So the same thing with cryptocurrency. 10 BTC may buy me a car, but it may not buy me, some land somewhere, or vice versa, depending on what the value is. It's the exact same mindset that you're thinking of, right? So anyway, so the thing about the exchanging from one person to another is that, one, you don't have a middleman. Two, you don't have to worry about the ledger because it's all public. Right, so you're seeing in real time the transactions that are coming in. You don't have to worry about having an app, and you don't have to worry about did the person receive the money or not, because you can see it right then and there, right? And then also when we're talking about hackability, when we're talking about illegal and criminals and that association of that, the code in and of itself is what is encrypting said thing that you're sending, right, for value. So if you can see that encryption, another person can see it too. We're on a community basis, right? To where we are all looking at the same time, this transaction that's going in. If someone was trying to hack that, they'd have to be pretty fast, right? They would have to be faster than everybody that is watching this blockchain. And then they would have to replicate it so that nobody is catching the said criminal act that is going on, or the cheating or the hacking that's happening. That's almost impossible, right? It's not impossible to where it cannot happen, right? Because nothing is impossible. However, it is very, very difficult for that to happen. So when we say is crypto legal, absolutely it's legal. Everything that I just explained to you is things that are even happening right now, right? But the problem is there's no regulations and laws that are governing how this works, because to be quite honest with you, if you're on this live stream, if you're listening and you're hearing it right now, the things that I explained to you, you probably know more than a lot of people in the world right now, even people who are trying to actually learn about crypto. You know more about how it works right now than probably, I say more than 75%. Know that a lot of statistics are made up on this point. So, take that with a grain of salt, and I'm not the numbers person, talk to Rian. However, I do believe that there is enough people here to just say that your knowledge base now has been elevated. So you're welcome, right? Okay, so next thing here with the slide. So we talk in here a lot about these criminals and about this thing. And I said one thing about it is the anonymous portion of it. And the reason I want to harp on that, especially as me being a woman of color, right? There's a lot of discrimination that happens in finance. There's a lot of discrimination that happens within the money sphere in general. Gatekeeping. I talked on my social media about KYC, which is Know Your Customer, Truth in Lending, which is the Truth in Lending Act, Bank Secrecy Act. I can just keep going and going and going. It's called the alphabet soup of regulations, basically, when it comes to finance, right? And the problem with that is that there are also some social issues that have happened within our world and in our industry and in certain things that leaps into finance, that leaps into these kind of traditional legal even fields. Crypto eliminates that because like I said, you can't really see who you're sending it to. So this means I could be sending my 10 BTC to someone in Israel or somewhere in China or somewhere in California. You know, it doesn't matter because we are in control of our money. All of the interstate, interstate regulations that happen with finance is a safety measure, which makes sense because physical tender, we don't want to do anything or be responsible. Banks specifically do not want to be responsible for enabling criminal acts, right? And so with crypto, they've said, you know what? That's really none of our business what you're doing with your money because it's yours. Now you are responsible. There's no institution that's going to be responsible for it. You as the person is responsible because you hold your wallet, right? Have you heard the saying, if it's not your wallet, not your crypto, or not your keys, not your crypto? That's basically what it is because you are now your own bank, right? So your bank is on your phone now. Your bank is in your hand. That's a lot of responsibility. But what it does is it takes out the middle person that now has to stand in and be responsible for that. And they're like, oh, you the individual, you sending this money for whatever it is that's illegal, now you're in trouble. Not the bank, just you. Right, so that is a huge thing legally. And I'm gonna tie back into that and talk about that more, but the point that I just made, that is really big. That's gonna be the crux of a lot of the regulation and the laws that you start seeing around crypto on a federal level, right? So is crypto safe? Okay, so that becomes the question when you take an institution out of it. Crypto is safe, but it puts a lot of responsibility back on the individual. Again, there's no financial institution. There's no bank to run to and say, hey, somebody just stole, 1,000 BTC from me and I don't know where it's at. Or I lost the code to my keys. Who do I talk to? Nobody, because you're the only person with your keys, right? So you have to be much more responsible and take a proactive role in your financial life. And if you're not doing that already, and you're kind of relying on institutions, and you're kind of relying on the bank, and you want your own money, but not really, this is gonna, put some pep in your step, for lack of better words. You're gonna kind of have to get a little bit more up to speed. And to Ryan's point, when he was talking about smart contracts and the middle person being eliminated, meaning me as an attorney, or him as an accountant, or a mortgage broker, or an underwriter for a loan, these jobs are not going to become completely obsolete, right? Because we have a lot of knowledge base traditionally in the back. And it's going to take a long time for people to catch up in the world. So think about it as I'm telling it to you. It sounds like, okay, this makes sense. But think about how slow things change. Regulations change so slow. Laws are not caught up to society. It takes a while. Right? Because people are scared. They don't want to do something and then all of a sudden it's a wreck, right? Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that responsibility. So we want to make sure that, one, what we're doing is safe, which it absolutely is, but the juxtaposed to that is it puts a lot of responsibility on the individuals. It puts a lot of responsibility on a citizenry, meaning you have to be educated. Right? So don't take a back seat. Don't just say, oh, I'll learn about it whenever or whatever. Then you're going to turn into your mom who doesn't know how to turn on a stream on the YouTube. And you're going to be calling your kids saying, can you give me the keys to my wallet because I lost them again, right? You don't want to do that. You want to have more responsibility and take a more proactive role while you can learn about these things. And like I said, we're really early, right? So if you're on this live stream, you are a proactive individual in your financial life. You're taking the reins, and that's amazing. Right? So crypto is actually safer than a lot of physical tender because, one, we can all see it in real time. And one, I can transact. If you're an immigrant, right, let me just put a pause right here. If you're an immigrant or you have family that lives in another country and you've ever had to wire money through a bank, can we all collectively groan, right? Hate. It's such a long process. They ask you 1,000 questions and all you want to do is send your uncle the money that he was supposed to get so that he could buy his lunch today, or whatever it is the reason why you're sending the money over, right? Crypto eliminates that whole process because, again, the bank is trying to make sure that they're not enabling criminal acts. When you have crypto, it comes back to the individual. So now I can send my grandpa or my auntie or my cousin money in whatever country that they're in without having to worry about, are they going to get it? How much fees are they going to have to pay? Now I have to have more than the amount that I was going to send. Are they going to get it safely? With crypto, it's a quick transaction, one wallet to the next. Right? And this is how we need to start thinking about money and transacting. And when we don't get it that way, now that I know how crypto works, when I go to the bank, it's a little annoying. Not gonna lie to you, because they ask me a lot of questions and do a lot of things that I know is unnecessary. Right? So I want to inform you so we can all be annoyed together and move this on quicker so we can stop using the bank. Right? Right. All right. So we've answered, is crypto legal? Absolutely it is. Cryptographic encryption, been around for a long time. We can do the Googles, right? We are all gonna make it. That's exactly correct. I love that, dog. We're all gonna make it. So I'm gonna talk more about that. Actual acronym in just a second here. So who regulates it? So I kind of already touched on this. I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but bear with me because I get excited, right? So who regulates it? No one. Right now, there's no regulations. Now, let me take that back a little bit because it's not no one. Because like I said before, the community, which we talked about the ecosystems a little bit, Ryan and Teddy kind of teased about the ecosystem, and they're definitely going to talk more about that because, to be quite honest, they just know more than me. But on an ecosystem and how it is connected with other currencies and other blockchains, we the people, we kind of regulate it, right? We make sure that our money is safe and we are taking a proactive role in our financial lives, because if we don't and someone else gets cheated or someone else gets hacked, what does that mean for us? That means that we could be next, right? So we want to eliminate that issue. We want to find the problems. And again, blockchain is the code, the ledger that everything is tracked on, and cryptocurrency is exchanged on this blockchain, right? So we want to make sure that that blockchain is correct, because to the point that was made earlier, there's other things that can be transacted on a blockchain, ding, ding, other than currency. So we can do contracts within a blockchain. We can store documents in a blockchain. We can actually store records in a blockchain. So if you're thinking about your phone bill or different things like that, you have to call and get your records or your bank statement, or even let's talk about something more serious, a mortgage, like Ryan was saying. You're going to be able to buy property through a blockchain transaction. Like, wrap your mind around how crazy that is. Being able to just do something as huge as purchasing land through a digital transaction with minimal interference. And if you've ever bought a home before, you know that there's a mortgage broker, there's a real estate agent, there's an underwriter, then there's the bank, and then there's all these people. It's going to get to a point where you're just going to do a transaction to transaction. Hey, you got land, I got money, let's exchange. You know what I'm saying? And again, when you take out financial institutions, when you take out institutions in general, you start to get this responsibility back on the individual, right? And we don't want to just throw people in the deep end, right? We're not going to let you drown. We're not going to let you drown. So when I say who regulates it, in short, cryptocurrency will be regulated on a more wild west situation than it is right now, because right now it's fun, right? It's free for all. Get in while you can. That's why you're on this live stream. You need to be getting on your wallet. You need to be removing and understanding what it means from a warm wallet, which is an app, versus cold store wallet, which is like a ledger, or basically it's a USB drive, right? And you put it into your computer, that USB drive becomes your bank. So just like how your app is on your phone, that's a warm wallet because it's an app on your phone. A cold store wallet is something that's going to be taken away. So you can remove it from a digital device. You can remove it from online. You can take it off of the internet, quote unquote, right? Because that's what this currency is. It's basically digital internet where we can kind of talk to each other with currency, with value, with documents, with whatever it is that we're storing. So let me get back. So, like I was saying before, there's other things that can be put into the blockchain outside of just currency. We're talking docs. We're talking your medical records. We're talking social security numbers. We're talking your mortgage. We're talking all of these things, contracts for businesses and services, right? So if we're able to do that all through a blockchain, this is going to scare a lot of industries because it's called disruptive, right? And when something is disruptive, it's disrupting the status quo of what's already happening. So me as an attorney, I look at this as like, oh, wow, I'm going to have to learn how to be a different type of attorney. I'm going to have to learn how to do my business a little bit different, to consult with my clients a little bit different, because it's going to get to a point where they won't need me, right? They won't need me to draft a contract anymore. They may need me to negotiate and mediate and maybe help if something happens on the backside. But a large portion of what a lot of us transactional attorneys do can be digitized, almost automated in a way. Right? But there's always humans. And if humans are involved, they're going to want other humans involved. So don't worry about losing your job too soon. But just understand that it's coming, right? The next part of this slide talks about KYC. So I kind of said that earlier, how I don't like the gatekeeping, how I don't like all of these regulations. Even as an attorney, I know that's weird. That's why I'm special. That's why you need to come to QKI Consulting, because I'm telling you the truth. But KYC is basically know your customer. And what that means in the banking world is we want to kind of know what you're doing with your money, kind of. We want to know who you are. We want to have a good, like, a neighborly familiarity with you. when we're transacting with you on a business level, because we feel like if we do that, we can kind of eliminate some of the criminal activity that can happen, right? Because we don't want to be enabling criminal activities, anything that could be illegal, anything that's not on the up and up. Technically, right, with a financial institution, we see kind of why they're doing that, but at the same time, y'all, I'm just telling you the truth, it really ain't none of their business, right? That's what the police are for. That's what other investigations are for. It's not for the bank to be doing something that technically is not their job, right? And I get it. There's a lot of order, there's regulations, there's coverage, there's all kinds of things that go into the regulation of these acts. But at the end of the day, it's really none of their business. And that's how I feel about it. And that's why I love crypto, right? And you're going to too. So with KYC as an example, these are the type of regulations that we kind of don't want. We don't want gatekeeping with crypto. We don't want the discriminatory acts that have happened based off of standing on the legs of things like KYC to say, oh, well, we don't really know you that well, so we're just not going to lend to you. Or, I don't really like what you had on when you came to the bank today, so I'm going to deny that loan. Or I'm going to deny that account. No, absolutely not. With crypto, that's not even an option because I'm not going into anywhere because I'm using my phone, right? I'm using my device to just transact. I have the money. I'm trustworthy because I'm on this network. You can see it on the blockchain. And as long as you can keep transacting on that blockchain, that's all that we're looking at to make sure for trustworthiness, right? And so it makes it a lot easier to transact because we're not looking at all these superficial things trying to make sure it's secure. It's secure in and of the operation of itself, which is so cool. It's literally securing itself by how it works. Satoshi Nakamoto, genius. I don't know if it's a they, them, he, she, whatever, but we are very grateful, okay? I am very grateful. So the next thing we're going to talk about is now this says holding, right? Which is funny because last night I actually learned that this was actually what it was supposed to say. But technically the word is HODL'ing, right? So if you're in the Bitcoin cryptocurrency space, you'll see HODL'ing all the time, or when there's a big dip, we HODL, right? We're holding on for dear life because we don't want to give up the value of our crypto, but emotionally, it's like a roller coaster, right? Because you're seeing the value and the volatility you had, right? Bitcoin could have been like 40K. And this happened to me, not last year, year before last. Yeah, it was heartbreaking, y'all. So listen to this. So cryptocurrency was at 40K, right? And this all-time high, we're all happy. I got in like a few months before that because it was at like 32. Then I see all of my value on the up and it's shooting up quickly, right? And we are up and to the left, okay? It's going great. Then a few weeks later, it goes below what it was when I bought it. When I tell you, it was very, very difficult to not sell all of it and move on to something else because of the volatility. I'm not lying to you. But the reason we hold on for dear life because there's a valuation there. And Rian talks about this. He's great at explaining this. So stay tuned for the next one here. He's going to get into all the analysis and things that go into that. But you got to buy the dip. You got to understand that the dip is going to happen. Go ahead and load up while it's cheap. Look at it like it's on sale and then go about your business. Don't worry about the value that you lost. Don't worry about the volatility because I said that about the 40K, right? Then it goes down. You know what the next all-time high was? 65, 62. And then I saw all of my value come all the way back up again. And I'm like, oh no, I should have bought more in 32. I learned that lesson one time. It only took one time. So what we want to do is we want to hold on for dear life because I'm going to tell you right now, holding on to Bitcoin cryptocurrency is a roller coaster, okay? So there's volatility and it's very important to understand this because if you are used to day trading or if you're used to stocks or used to stock market, right, I know 65 is just the beginning. I know, I cannot wait. Listen, I'm a Bitcoin maximalist as well. So that's where me, Ryan, and Teddy, we differ because they are big Ethereum people and I get it. And it's my traditional background. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. It's the tradition in me that makes me a Bitcoin maximalist and also how I learned about cryptocurrency. I learned from other Bitcoin maxis, right? So that's why I'm kind of like, I hear what y'all saying, but we're going to wait and see what this Tom looking like first because I know what the store of value is and Bitcoin looking like a big store of value to me, okay? So, but there's also use case for cryptocurrency. So in juxtaposed to that argument, because I do understand this and now I'm going to get out of this because I know this is, for beginners, this is probably a bit much, but I'm gonna say it because I already dived into it. So there's use cases for cryptocurrency, right? So as we have different currencies like yen, dog, dollars, euros, pesos, all of these different things. These are currencies based off of geographical region, right? Because if you're in a certain space before where we didn't have, airplanes, cars, trains, different things like that, it was harder to transact with people. You're mostly transacting and doing business within the country that you're in. And then there's some other things that go on that, but just in a simplistic level, geographically, that's kind of how our currency is set up. And also GDP and some other things. I'm not gonna go there. So rounding that back up, cryptocurrency is digital, right? So like I said, I can send Bitcoin, which is the same value in the US, roughly, as it is in China. So me and a person in China can transact and do business because there's the internet. I don't have to physically go to China to do business with someone who is in China geographically, right? So why would I need to do the transaction fees and coins and different things like that? It's almost unnecessary. So that is why use case for coins now are not based off of geographical region. It's based off of, oh, well, I game, and it makes sense for me to have a coin for my game because I want to be able to buy these certain things here. But maybe it doesn't make sense when I want to buy ice cream, right? Or maybe it doesn't make sense when I want to move things around on the internet. Maybe when I'm doing a legal transaction, I don't really need to use my gaming token to transact my legal. So it just doesn't make sense. So that's where use case comes in. And then also, like Teddy was talking about, proof of work versus proof of stake. And I will say this too, because I hear this all the time, and I'm like, you need to do your research. Proof of work is outdated, right? It was the beginning. It was how we kind of started. This is how we got to the nodes. This is how we were talking to each other. It uses a lot of energy, right? A lot of energy, a lot of electricity. Proof of stake, which is how we upgraded now, doesn't. Right? It's taken the issue and it's fixing itself. This is why I love crypto so much, because it's almost like it's self-evolving. It's like, oh, we see a problem? Okay, we're gonna fix it. Oh, we see this problem, because people believe in it. So when we see a problem, we're not just sitting there like, oh, guess we gotta wait for Congress to, pass a bill to fix this. No, we're gonna do it ourselves, right? We're gonna be able to get in there as a community and say, Bitcoin kind of takes a long time. What if we used Ethereum? Ethereum kind of takes like that. May have some fees that are associated to it. Oh, these fees are getting expensive. Oh, DOT. Oh, Solana. Like, we have solutions to these problems based off of use case, which are different coins. So that's kind of an intro to that. I'll talk about that more. But for all you need to know for this slide is just understand, I get it. There's going to be volatile times. There's going to be some up and downs, but just stick with us, right? Stick with us. So what is blockchain? Blockchain is my true love. I love blockchain because cryptocurrency is able to work based off of blockchain, right? And I think Teddy kind of shares my love with this because we see all of the different lanes and ways that blockchain can implement and disrupt certain industries, and Rian too as well, because he talked about smart contracts. He talked about the storing of documents and different things. This is possible through blockchain. Don't mix up blockchain and cryptocurrency. They're two different things. So it's just like when you go to the bank and you get your bank statements, you can see everything on a bank statement, which is your transactions. That's your ledger, right? So with blockchain, your ledger is on the blockchain, right? So you can see your transactions through each block. Each block is going to hold a certain amount of transactions that were done. And then when you move to another blockchain, when you move to another coin or another ecosystem, right, there's another blockchain that ties that together. So we're looking at different transactions, right, on this blockchain, and then you're able to separate it by what you did, what somebody else did. But again, you're not looking at the value. So you may not be able to see, and there's something called private blockchains and public blockchains based off of what you're doing. So there's a use case here. So it gets down, we're gonna get down into this, y'all. This is very introductory, it's very basic. Don't worry about it, put your questions in the chat, we're gonna answer them. But I'm just wanting to give you kind of a full view of what cryptocurrency is and how it can change the world and why we are just so excited and obsessed, right? Because even down to electrical grids. So how electrical grids are set up now, it's on an electrical system. And let me not get into this because I am not an engineer nor an electrician, I only know a little bit. But with blockchain, you can exchange that and put where the grids are going, how that's actually done within a blockchain technology. And we can start taking things from I don't know, the 1950s into the 2000s now, based off of the technology and the information that we can use. And again, we talked about how secure it is. We talked about it's legal. We talked about how all of these things are like an upgrade. So now we're going to have different things and ways to use in different industries that are like, oh, we were doing this like this? That's so archaic. We are updated now because we're able to store everything in a digital space. Think of a cloud system, right? If you work in a place where you have a lot of physical documents, think of all the physical documents you have to keep track of, even just as a person, as a human, okay? A birth certificate, a social security number, a citizen record, a citizenry record, your green card, all of these things, digital, right? A wallet. Think of all the cards you hold in your wallet and then think of them being digital. Apple Pay, Google Pay, it's already happening, right? So now we're just continuing to move towards that lane. So it's not as foreign as you think. Y'all know a lot more about cryptocurrency than you think you do. Digital currency at that, because we're kind of already doing it, right? And then if you're on this live stream listening to us today, I'm telling you, light years ahead, you're going to thank us. You're not going to be grandpa, grandma asking for what's the remote. You know what I'm telling you? Like it's going to be real. So when I say, but there's more, that's the more because there's industries that because we haven't actually integrated and seen the different ways that blockchain and cryptocurrency can work, we don't even know all the ways that it can be disruptive. Right? We don't even know all of the use cases that can happen and how it's going to change the world. Teddy was talking about Web3, and I love this graphic here where it's like, I feel like cryptocurrency is making the world smaller. So it makes it to where I can transact and actually communicate with people that I may not have physically been able to do in the past. Obviously, we can fly places and we can talk to people, but that takes resources, that takes knowledge, that takes a little courage, if nothing else, right? And this is making things a lot smaller and a lot easier. And on a legal standpoint, connecting people in this way, big dollar signs, because that's really what we do, right? We're able to, our contracts, they connect a service to a person who's able to do that, a practitioner, right? Or we're connecting a person to another person in a different way and making sure that the terms of whatever that agreement is being carried out. Blockchain and different technologies is doing that same thing. So again, you need to get with the winning team and book a consult with QKI Consulting so you know what's going on, because all the lawyers that are out there are not going to advise you about this because, to be quite honest, they don't know how. Right? What Ryan is talking about today, there's not a lot of accountants that are going to tell you about cryptocurrency because they just simply don't understand it, right? And they can't advise you on something that they don't understand. And right now it's optional. Oh, it's very optional. It's optional for you to be on this live stream. It's optional for you to be watching me online. This is all optional. It's going to get to a point where it's not, though. It's going to get to a point where it's going to be very difficult to navigate in the world without knowing this information. So you don't want to be one of those people, right? You privileged right now, okay? In the best sense of the word of me using that, right? Take the joke. So does crypto and cash mix? Absolutely. Absolutely, right? We're talking about flexibility here. We're talking about knowledge. We're talking about learning all the things. There's no reason why you shouldn't have a crypto wallet and a bank account, right? You can do both, right? Because we understand that you still have to pay bills and do different things like that. And as much as we don't like these financial institutions, we still kind of, got to mess with them a little bit. So of course you can do that. And the beauty of this is there is a genius way that I have learned through working with Rian and working with Teddy about how to get these fees eliminated. So talking about wires before when I said they're a big pain in the you know what. So the same thing happens with crypto because fees have to be exchanged in order for you to transact. Well, that's what I thought, right? I thought you have to. It's absolutely not a necessity. You can move funds from fiat to crypto to back to fiat to do all of your gains, paying no fees at all, right? So that's his jam. I'm not going to, go too much into that, but it's beautiful, the flexibility and the fluidness, right? Of being able to just move your cash and your crypto between. We're like world light years ahead right now. This is very Star Wars-like, in my opinion, right? So we're like learning all of these things and doing all these things in real time, which is amazing. But at the same time, it's also a great way for you to inform yourself on, again, your finances, your money, how you want that to look. Because as we're getting all of this freedom, it's also incorporating a lot of responsibility. And we want to be smart. And as an attorney, and also it's just me being a little more risk adverse, just based off of my technical training, we want to make sure that we're safely engaging in all of this exciting stuff, right? We don't want to be in a place to where we don't really know exactly what we're doing, because you definitely can get burned, right? There's a lot of volatility within Bitcoin. There's a lot of volatility within cryptocurrency as a space in general. There's a lot of volatility in dollars too, because you can check the price of gold and how that's going. We're not even on a gold standard anymore. Listen, again, there's so much nuance and things in how this works. But if you're willing to understand and take the time to educate yourself, again, tapping into things like Web3, communicating and consulting with professionals like Rian and myself and Teddy, these people we take our time, guys, to learn this stuff and to get involved with this. It's not just dropped on us. No, we're actively researching and learning this stuff. And so by you coming in and connecting with us, you also are gaining knowledge and research, right? So that's what we want to do. Our whole purpose here is to teach and get more people involved. You know, that's really it. There's no pyramid scheme. There's no sign up and then we want you to bring 12 people next time. And when you do that, we're going to give you 10. No. That's not what we're doing. We simply want you to be informed because this is what's happening in our world, right? We are pre-internet right now. Very 1990s, Bill Gates with the bowl cut. Like that's where we are right now, right? So this is super cool and it's a great place to be. And that's going to be the end of my stuff here. I'm going to hand it back to Luis, but I hope you guys have learned something and that this was informative, a little fun, maybe laughed a little bit, because I know legal can be boring, right? But at least with this, it's an exciting topic of crypto and where our world is going. So appreciate you guys, and I'm going to give it to Luis. Okay. I was gonna say maybe because I can keep talking, y'all. I got all kinds of stuff to tell y'all about crypto, about blockchain, about legal. Y'all ask me the questions, I'll just keep it up. Try to give y'all the shortened version this time because it's just series 1. But you know, just give me the cue and I'll keep it on going.
I know. Hey, hold on. That's why I was like making sure there's no more slides. I gotta stop you right there. Like, you're giving them already too much for today. But no, but I know. I mean, you cover a lot. I mean, you covered the KYC. Also, there's the AML. There's also there's a lot to talk about.
Yes.
Not many people know. I mean, probably people hear about DeFi or DAOs, right? So what is that, right?
Telling them my stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so I just want to make sure that I want to tell the audience.
Absolutely.
That we know we got this stuff already planned out. Like we have this, and I want to thank everyone who's been subscribing to our channel, who've been liking, who've been leaving comments on the live stream. This is really exciting for us. But yeah, I guess you want to stay with me, UK, for the giveaway. So we're gonna be. I want to do a big shout out to our. Stoop House. Stoop House is one of our sponsors as well. And man, they're just amazing. I just want to thank them for all the work they did to help us out to put this together as well. And hey, let me just give you a quick introduction about Stoop House. So Stoop House is a brand new metaverse and crypto inspired lifestyle brand. So if you're into crypto and you're like, I'm not a financial investor, you got to go get their merch from there. They got some awesome merch. They got some hats, sweaters,
good
everything.
quality.
Like, yeah, really good quality. You guys, while you're investing or learning about crypto, you want to put on that sweater or that hat on, just to make sure you're on point, you're on fire. But
you're with the team now, the winning team.
That's it. You're joining the Crypto Insight team now.
Yes.
But yeah, I want to say their website's in the slide. It's stoophouse.com, and then they're giving for a limited time too. You get a 15% off. And then there's the discount code. If you guys can just go visit the site, you believe me, they have some awesome merch. Maybe towards the end we might show us a little bit a sneak peek of what they have. But go ahead, guys, just follow them. They're amazing. They're amazing.
Absolutely.
And QK, I want to thank you. That was a lot of information, and I know we're gonna be dedicating just one session just for you, because I know a lot of people are just concerned about, is it legal, not illegal?
Absolutely.
And then it's just like, for me specifically too, like we're building on Web3, or at least we're trying to increase the adoption of Web3, and we want to make sure that we're covered, right? And
absolutely.
And not better than having an expert here in compliance and having this regulations in mind. This has helped us having everything planned out, having a good structure. For anyone out there also who's listening to me, yeah, if you are like, if you're planning on having like an NFT collection, or maybe you're planning on building a Web3 application, just know we have some experts here who can guide you through how, how to open your business, or how you can, what are the things you should have in mind. Like, prepare yourself before you do that big jump, right? And we got everything. We got everything in here, right? Right, QK?
Absolutely, absolutely. We're just here to help you along the way, get solid footing as we're getting into this new universe. It's the Wild West out here.
Yeah.
We're gonna help you get through it.
So
Absolutely.
I think it's time for us to. So Stoop House, it's giving some giveaways. So I think we're ready to announce the winners. Let's put the winners in there. Look at that. We have them on the screen. So.
Okay.
Hey guys, everyone names who's in there. We will contact you directly. Thank you for registering. This is just great. This is
Yes, that's the beauty of registering, y'all. Not just tuning in on the live, because we definitely gonna give you information, but when you register, you win stuff. So
yes,
I like winning stuff.
Yeah, and we plan on doing this often. And we plan on having more sponsors, and we're gonna have some cool Web3 stuff, and just in general crypto, right? All right, so I just want to thank everyone who's still watching, and we're gonna take a 5-minute break, and we will be right back. We're going to go again. We're gonna be moving into the accounting section now, right? QK, we're gonna bring in Rian again. We're gonna be talking about the
numbers. Absolutely. I don't like
okay.
numbers. That's why I went to law school. So y'all need to listen to Ryan.
Yeah,
yes.
Right. So me personally, I buy crypto, sell crypto. So I need Ryan to help me with my taxes. I'll tell you
Same.
that.
Make sure we're not in trouble. Yep.
Yeah. So anyone who's a day trader, a crypto day trader, make sure that stay tuned for the next session. So I will be right back. Yeah. In the meantime, don't forget to register, guys.
All that other old fancy chances I take it. Tell myself that I make it. Tell myself that I make it. Wait for all that other old fancy chances I take it. I'm covered by Jehovah. Jesus keep me close. I'm protected because the devil trying to put me in a coma. That's why I'm like no sir. That's why I'm like no sir. They be trying to kill my buzz. I gotta let them know, bro. Can't stop my shine. Can't stop my shine. Glory go to God, I praise him all the time. Can't stop my shine. Can't stop my shine. It's my season, bro. You know I'm next in line. One thing I know though, and that's for sure though. See, it goes like this. Psalm 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Yeah. How can I not love my God? He keep it real, man. He don't be no fraud. I be trusting in him. I ain't gotta worry about a thing. I ain't gotta worry about a thing. No matter what the situation is, whether it's small or big, cause I know my God got it covered. All I know my God got it covered. It don't even matter, don't be stressing. I don't need the problem solver. I can trust him like no other. Lay back. stress free. You can tell I'm chilling most bestly. Cause I'm steady trusting in my destiny. Killing this beat better arrest me. Hold up, why you stress free? You should really think about the best things. You got all the problems and the things that's really awkward. Don't you try to trust before you make a mess, please. I'm gonna live forever, yeah. I'm gonna live forever, yeah. Thank you, God, I love you, God. Best gifts I can never get. I can even chill about it. Bro, I'm finna celebrate. You should really think about it. Maybe you should meditate. I lay low. Yeah, I love. I lay low. Yeah, I love. Yeah, I love. I lay low. Yeah, I love. I lay low. Yeah, I love. Yeah, I love. I lay low. Yeah, I love. I lay low. Yeah, I love. Yeah, I love. I lay low. Yeah, I love. I lay low. How can I not love my God? We keep it real, man, you don't be no fraud. I keep attention just like seminars. I be trusting in me, even though life be hard. How can I not love my God? We keep it real, man, you don't be no fraud. I keep attention just like seminars. You don't make no mistakes in him, there is no flaws. This is no fairy tale. This is 1005. This is all facts. I love the Lord, because He has heard my voice and my supplications, because He hath inclined His ear unto me. Therefore will I call upon Him as long as I live. Gracious is the Lord, and righteous, yea, God is merciful. God called me for such a time as this. We are talking about. Sure. You see me, I'm swagging. Let them ride. Nobody here by my side. Entrepreneur, it's alright. I'ma praise God till I die. I'ma praise God till I die. I should look up in the sky. I'ma praise God till I die. I'ma praise God till I die. I'ma praise God till I die. Go ahead, everybody. I'ma praise God till I die. I'ma praise God till I die.
Hey everyone, welcome again. Thank you for holding on. We're ready. We're ready. We're almost ready to get started with the crypto accounting. Just before we get started, I just want you to quick reminder. Right after the crypto accounting section, we're going to have a Q&A session. So we're going to be looking at the chat since the beginning of we started the live stream. So just keep on dropping your questions. We're gonna have the questions come up on screen, and we're gonna have our panelists answer the questions. Yeah, thank you again, everyone. Yeah, so now I just want to bring in Rian. Rian, let's talk about accounting, right? Like I was talking, I was talking to QK and and telling her how you got to help me do my taxes and everything. Hey, I just want to, before you get started, why is this important? Like, what happens if I don't decide to claim that I do trading or I own crypto or anything like that? I just want to highlight how important it is to about this question, because I think it's on the new form of the income tax, right? Ryan?
Yeah. The 1040. Yeah, they ask a question basically like, have you purchased or sold cryptocurrency? So yeah, it's becoming a big thing for the U.S. now. Looking at that, because basically at the end of the day, they want to get their piece of the pie, and they want to get that tax money from you. So that's why they're trying to figure out different ways now. Like, people made money. how do we get a piece of that pie now and get that tax off of that money that people have made?
Got it. Okay, I see. But then, I know you've been studying crypto, and but at this time, I know that you know what are the loops we can do to kind of save taxes on it, right?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of ways, but the number one thing, you can't do any of the things that I'm going to tell you guys on how to save unless you track your basis. And that basically means, like, when you buy, make sure, like, you know the date that you bought it, the amount of the token or coin that you bought of cryptocurrency, and then the US dollar value. So, am I good now?
Okay. Yeah, you're good now.
So basically the biggest thing is tracking your basis. So every time you purchase, you get the date, you figure out you also write down the exchange you got it from, you write down the token that you bought, the amount of that token, and then the US dollar value, or the currency that you used to purchase it with, the value. And as long as you keep track of that every single time, and it's really easy to do if you do it every single time you purchase. If you purchase for 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks at a time, and then you go into your sheet or your thing to try to track your transactions, that's always a pain. But if you buy it and then you immediately 2 seconds or a minute later go into your sheet or wherever you do to track it, it makes it a lot easier. And there's actually a sheet that I created myself that I use to be able to use. Like I told you guys, I use all different exchanges: KuCoin, Kraken, Gemini, Celsius Network is another one that I use. And so because of that, it's hard to see what your basis and how many tokens and what you put into the cryptocurrency in total is. And that's the way I made it to help you do that.
Yeah, I mean, I see. Okay, but I think this sounds really advanced. I'm pretty sure for a lot of our users, especially for the audience today. But that's good to know. I mean, it's good to have that slide up right now, and then where they have all your information, where they contact you. I mean, tell them why they should come and work with you. Because to be honest with you, I got to do taxes. I got to report my income. Especially the crypto losses and gains that I got over last year. So it's good. I mean, I'm gonna leave the stage to you. Just reintroduce yourself, and once again, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. I'm Ryan. I kind of give you guys a little bit of a background. I came from a public accounting background where I did bank audits. I did tax returns for individuals, for C corps, S corps, partnerships. Basically the whole multitude of things, financial background wise, as a public accountant. Then from there, I worked in a media company as a director of finance for 4 years. And now I've left there and I'm doing my own consulting crypto wise and teaching, like what QK is doing, Teddy, Louise, doing all this with LCube. So for me, once I really got into crypto at the end of December 2020, from my background, I could see where it was going to go to. I knew it was going to be able to go into every basically aspect of our lives, from gaming to how we earn interest on our money. Where right now we're using savings accounts. It'll be in cryptocurrency in the future. To NFTs and art and how we sell that, to how we'll sell homes in the future. Going to the next part. So kind of the biggest question you guys will probably have is, when do you pay taxes on crypto, right? So the reason when you do pay taxes is when you convert your cryptocurrency into another crypto or the US dollar. So if you have a Bitcoin or Ethereum, say you have a Bitcoin and you convert it into Ethereum, that's a taxable event. If you have Bitcoin and you convert it into stable coin, that's a taxable event. If you have Bitcoin and you convert it into US dollar, euro, taxable event. Another two things that trigger an event that would cause you to pay tax is, earlier when I was talking about gaming and saying like, hey, World of Warcraft, Tetris, you can earn rewards that can be turned into US dollar or another cryptocurrency. When you receive that gaming reward, or say you're staking or earning interest, when you receive the asset, the Ethereum, it's at the price that you received it at in US dollar that day. It's not whatever it appreciates up to whenever next April 15th rolls around for tax season. So that's another reason why I was saying it's very, very vitally important to keep really good basis tracking. So every time you receive interest in Ethereum, or if you earn a reward in a game that's in cryptocurrency, write down what the amount of US dollar that cryptocurrency was worth on the day you got it. And that'll basically give you what you need to be able to not have your CPA be mad at you. So the next question you may have is, what type of taxes do you pay, right? Like, okay, this is when I do pay taxes, when you sell, convert, or when you earn interest or a gaming reward. So the type of taxes that you will pay are either short-term capital gains, long-term capital gains, or you'll pay a collectible tax that's a flat rate. So what's the differentiation between those three, right? So short-term is if you buy and you held it for less than a year and then you sold, you'll pay a short-term capital gains tax. Long-term, opposite of that, if you buy it and you've held it for more than 365 days, then you'll pay a long-term capital gains tax, which is a more favorable rate. And then the collectible rate is for NFTs without utility, and that's taxed at a flat 28%. So you may be asking, like, okay, what are the different rates? So short-term is the most disadvantaged rate. It's the highest rate. So right now they're talking about 36 to maybe 40% for anything in the short-term range. Long-term range is 23% between state and fed. And then collectible NFTs without utility is the flat 28. So what do I mean by NFTs without utility? Like, do they have light source or lights they have to like pay every month now? NFTs without utility or NFTs with utility is a better way to put it. NFTs with utility will be in the short-term or long-term capital gains treatment, depending on it. And utility means, is it more than just a piece of art, right? If it's an NFT with just a piece of art that people look at and like to know that they own, it's just 28%. But if it's an NFT that's also giving you increased earning or yield on cryptocurrency, or maybe it gives you airdrops or something other than just it looks cool, then it goes into long-term or the short-term categories. So talked about that. So now you're probably wondering, how do you save on these crypto taxes? So you know how the event gets started, and you know what types of taxes you'll pay. So yeah, the first thing I was talking about before was track your basis. Without that, you can't do these strategies I'm talking about. So one is you can do a wash sale. And what I mean by a wash sale, it means if you bought a cryptocurrency, let's say when QK was talking about when Bitcoin was 40,000, and then it goes up to 60,000, you're feeling good, right? But if it goes back down to 40,000, you're back even. But if on a wash sale, if you bought it at 40,000 and then it goes down to 20,000 and you sell and you immediately buy back in, you lock in a $20,000 loss that is only on paper. So again, if you bought Bitcoin at 40,000, it goes down to 20,000, you sell Bitcoin at 20,000, which creates a $20,000 loss, and then immediately buy back in. So you have Bitcoin worth 20,000. You still have this loss that you can then use against other gains later on. So for instance, say you bought the Bitcoin at 40K, sold it at 20, have a 20K loss. That Bitcoin that you bought at 20K goes up to 80,000. You can knock off 20,000 from that gain from when it went up. Another thing that you can do to also save on your taxes would be, this is something I'm doing personally, is create a business, transfer that crypto from yourself personally to the business. This is basically a non-taxable event. It's contributed capital. From there, that crypto that your business has from you will take on your basis. So when you sell that crypto, now you created a capital gain, but now because it's underneath the business, you can then say you wanted to buy a vehicle that was over 6,000 pounds. You could buy it and then write off the full amount of that car against those gains that you have underneath that business. And kind of what Louise was talking about with the accounting methods like LIFO, HIFO, FIFO, weighted average. And that basically goes back to the tracking your basis. Every time you bought, you put the date, the exchange, the amount, and token. So LIFO means last in, first out. So that would be the last cryptocurrency you bought will be the one that you would use for tax purposes. HIFO is highest in, first out, and that's a specific identification, which means you can identify like, hey, I'm identifying the highest crypto that I bought that's over a year old. FIFO is first in, first out, which that basically would always go to your oldest cryptocurrency you bought. Weighted average would just take the weighted average of all your cryptocurrencies that you bought. So taking everything you had, token-wise, divided by the US dollar amount that you put into it. So yeah, we talked about the basis. We've talked about ways to save on crypto, taxes. There's a lot more in-depth strategies you can do to save, but they're a little bit advanced, and these are things for future webinars that we're going to be doing. So yeah, I'm going to hand it back to LCube Studios, and he's coming back in.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. This is great. I'm like, sorry, I'm just looking at my notes right now because we gotta get ready. I mean, do we give me 1 second while I look something up? I mean, hey, thank you for that information. And then I think before before we even jump into so right now, right after this, we're gonna be taking another quick break, and then we're going to be jumping into the Q&A section where we're gonna be answering any questions the audience might have throughout the chat, and also I also have some quick questions that I was typing while I was listening to you guys, because believe me, this is a lot. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned something about, like, we got the NFT and the metaverse and the DAO and Web3. It's like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, I just want to get your personal opinion before I get everyone's else, because and then especially on the accounting side of it, like you mentioned about the GameFi, right? Can you give us a little bit more context on, because I know there are some I guess you can talk about the metaverse, right? We have some metaverses already, and what are metaverse, right? I know this is for future talks, but I just want to, like, kind of open everyone's eyes. It's like, hey, there's other ways that you can make money, like with crypto, and then especially now with all the industries starting to adopt this new technology, right? So, what are your thoughts? Yeah. Oh, you still with me?
Yeah. Yeah.
The
metaverse is their spin on the space. Yeah. Is it lagging?
Okay.
So yeah. So yeah. What are we talking about?
Metaverse. The metaverse.
Yeah. So the metaverse.
Yeah.
The metaverse.
Yeah.
The metaverse. Yeah. The metaverse is going to become a much bigger thing, right? So a lot of the things we're doing now, where we do Zooms and we're doing these live streams on YouTube, I believe in the future will be more like we'll have metaverse like icons that are watching these things and being able to interact and tip and do things more things like that. The metaverse to me is going to be utilizing a lot of GameFi. So everything we're doing now game-wise, like World of Warcraft, Tetris, all that is going to be an interactive world where people get together like they do with Call of Duty and play together and do things, play to earn, play to win. NFTs are going to be a huge part of that through either you'll be able to buy NFTs and use them in different games in the metaverse to give you increased either stamina, health, or attributes and things like that. And those will be utilities that I was talking about previously that would give you utility, that would put them in the short-term or long-term category for capital gains. Yeah, the metaverse is going to keep growing. It's not going to stop. It's kind of like saying, talking about the internet in the early 90s, early 2000s, saying like, oh, we need to go back to just sending like letters, emails, like annoying. I don't want to do that. It's not going to stop. It's going to just continue to grow and become more and more ingrained in our lives.
Okay. Well, it's good to know. This is exciting. I mean, I know. Well, I know you mentioned something. Well, I have a personal question. I want to take it. I want to take it to just pick your brain and get your feedback on this. It's if, let's say, I buy NFTs, like, are NFT taxable, or how does that work? Yeah, like.
Yeah, so you track your basis, right? So if you say you bought a Bored Ape Yacht Club and you paid $20,000 for it, right? That would become your basis for that NFT. So if you held that NFT for a year and let's say the value went to 100,000, you'd have an $80,000 long-term gain if you held it for a year and then sold it. Let's say same NFT, you bought it for 20,000, you sold it 3 months later for 80K. Then yeah, you'd have a $60,000 short-term gain that would be at a higher rate. So that gain would be taxed at maybe 36-40%. But if you did that same NFT and held it for a year and sold it, it'd be a 23-25% interest, and that'd be the, well, 28% would be what it'd be if it has no utility. So no matter what, if it's short term, long term, 28% new utility. If it has utility, it would be either 25 or 40%, depending on whether it's short or long term.
Gotcha. Well, I think we should be covering what's an NFT first, but let's leave that for the Q&A.
What is an NFT?
Yeah.
So NFTs,
yeah, what's an NFT? I think we jump, but I'm just gonna pause you right there.
That's a good point, right? Like non-fungible token. Like what does that really mean? It seems like a very, very mysterious thing.
Yeah, like I want to make myself a millionaire too. I want to make some NFTs.
NFT at its base is literally just a 1 of 1 or 1 of 5 or 1 of 10 token that is uniquely identifiable on the blockchain, so you can show ownership, right? So instead of the best kind of analogy I have for that is why do people wonder like why NFTs are valuable, right? This digital image that you can't really physically touch or anything. Well, it's the same reason that why in Fortnite, when people get like a skin that's maybe 1 of 100 or 1 of 25, that skin in Fortnite, people will freak out and say, "Oh my God, how did you get that digital skin for your character?" Even though they can't physically hold it, they can't like do anything with it. It's still super valuable because of the scarcity and because of the system that it's in. And NFTs are the same thing. Like if a certain brand like Bored Ape Yacht Club releases NFT as a digital asset and people want it, then it's the same thing. It has value.
Got it.
And that's basically kind of NFTs in a nutshell. So you can add images, you can add video, and this is why I'm saying like eventually NFTs will be how we sell homes, because that'll be you make an NFT of the home that would be uniquely identifiable, and if you get the cryptocurrency you're asking for, then the NFT goes to the person who bought the home, and that'd be how you'd show ownership. You'd say, "Hey, yep, I got this NFT. This is my house." Versus right now, you have either a title or I don't know, you show like your utilities to show you this is your address and your name there, right? In the future, it'll literally be you showing like, yeah, I got this property on my phone. This is the NFT for it.
Got it. Well, thank you, Ryan, for that information. I guess we're just gonna get started. I mean, it was a short session, so let me go into the next slides. Let's just get going. Oh, look at that. So it's So I want to thank everybody who have been watching us again. I just want to introduce LCube Studios. So we are a design and development studio. So we turn your reality into reality by creating bespoke frameworks. We just make MVPs. We make the best MVPs out there. So if you're like you have an idea, you want to pitch it to or bring it into investors, just come to us. We help you design it. We plan it out. As you can see, we have a group of experts they're in the legal and accounting areas, and they can definitely help you as well. And then we can put it all together. So we have the tech in here, and we got an amazing design team, developers. So if you're planning on building on Web3, we can also help you do that. So it's like, come in here and let's make your framework. That's I couldn't put it even better. And then let's go into the next slide. So you can register. Once again, this is just a quick slide. Please register. So the reason why we bring this slide up is because we're almost reaching the end of this session or of the seminar. And please, so if you haven't registered, please do, because you will be receiving an NFT. So this is your proof of attendance. So please, if you haven't registered, do it, please, because we will be sending you the instructions via email. So this is your time. We're gonna have it up for a few seconds, and we're gonna go into the next slide. So, yep. So this is Crypto Insight. Let's go into the next one. Let's do it. Let's do Q&A now. Let's bring all the panelists back on stage, and let's start asking questions. Let's look at what the audience got for us. Everyone who's watching live stream, please drop your questions now. We bring in all our experts, and then they're gonna be seeing everything on the screen, so everyone can see it. And let's just get. Let's just focus on everyone. Can we make it? Can we take the presentation off for a second? I can see everyone's face.
Okay.
Hey, there you go. Hey, everyone.
Hi.
Hey. How is it so far? How's
Whew.
everything? How you guys
Huh.
feeling? Ready for the Q&A?
Excited.
Do it.
Very excited.
Okay. Okay, the LQ team will be it's looking at the live stream. I'm looking at all the platforms and looking at the questions. Let's get started. I see we got, let me just get it over here. Okay, there you go. Question number 1. What is the legality of taking payments via cryptocurrency? This is by Giovanni. Thank you, Giovanni, for that question. I think who can take that? Is it you, QK? Is it you, Ryan? How legal is it to take crypto payments?
I would say we could both kind of
Okay.
answer that.
How about we
Yeah.
start with the legal side of it first? How about you, QK? You give us an understanding. Is it legal? Can I start taking crypto payments?
Absolutely. You can start taking crypto payments. The thing is with taking the payments, especially as a commercialized business, is that you have to take into account the storage of what's going to need to happen for that, right? So as long as your payment systems are set up to where you can, one, convert, right? Be able to track that and convert that for your commercial purposes, but also the storage of the information that you're using to actually receive that information, depending on what platform and exchange that you're using. And also if you're going to store that in a warm wallet, like I talked about, or a cold store wallet, your actual liability, though, will lie within those 2 regions as far as my legal knowledge is concerned. And then the other thing is also depending on if that person wants tracking purposes for it, right? Because the way that crypto transactions are done is different than how current commercial transactions are done via fiat currency. So you want to keep those 2 things in mind for your tracking purposes and storage purposes, and then also making sure you're keeping track of the information properly so that you're not, losing or having anyone's records on file. But then I'll leave the other side to Ryan as well.
All right. How about you, Ryan? Let's hear your feedback on that.
Yeah, everything QK said.
Yeah, everything QK said. And then also, basically, yeah. So in theory, right? If you pay for something using crypto, as long as you track in your basis, it's a taxable event when you give that crypto for either goods or services as well. So say you bought Bitcoin at $1, and then when Bitcoin got it to its all-time high at 70K, you use that to pay for services of 70. That person who received that $70,000 Bitcoin, now they list that Bitcoin, their basis is 70K in that Bitcoin. And then that's what they pay taxes on the next year. It'd be $70,000 Bitcoin would work for the person giving the crypto and the person receiving it.
Okay.
Thank
you. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Let's. I have another question over here. So we have it's a 2-part question by Michael Kin. So the first question will be: how do you protect yourself from crypto investment scammers taking advantage of your industry? And part 2, especially if you already transfer money to their wallet and they disappear, is there a way to track or retrieve the transaction? I think there's a lot of scammers out there, and yeah, I would like to hear everyone's opinion. And I guess let's start with the back again, because I'm concerned about the legal side of it. I'm throwing it back at you, QK. I know that's your industry. I would like to see.
Absolutely.
How can we fix this? Yeah.
Absolutely. So if I understand the question correctly, it was if there is like a loss or if there is a mistake or something to where the crypto that was accumulated is now no longer with the owner. Is that correct?
Yes, and then also also for this, like we have a lot of scammers out there. Like we have especially when there are new projects out there, you don't know who they are, and like how do you protect yourself from scammers, like those type of things? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So there's 2 questions. Yeah.
Thank you. So for the clarity, because I wanted to make sure. So there's two parts to that, right? So in the
Yes.
beginning part of that, I talked a lot about owning and having responsibility over your money, because there is no middleman, right? It's eliminating the bank, which means it's eliminating a lot of the problem solving and customer service aspect of your financial area. It doesn't mean that there will be completely none, right? But it is going to lessen that type of avenue for any type of retribution or anything like that, and to be made whole, right, in a legal sense. So because there are regulations on theft and regulations on being defrauded and those type of things, those are going to be the avenues legally that we have right now. On the other side of that, right, if you have engaged in certain types of, because there's also the thing of free will and doing your own research and making sure that you have a proactive, you're taking a proactive stance in your financial life. If you engage with certain things and you're giving, your own kind of risk to this, right? Because this is a risk to this as you're moving forward, you're going to have to take that into account when you run into losses, right? Because there are situations where you can lose your crypto, and there's not a necessarily a very obvious or blatant restoration process to get that back, right? On the legal side of it, like I said, there's always going to be laws against like fraud and theft and all kinds of different civil and criminal avenues that you can go down. But the problem is the application to this space, right? Because a lot of that is going to be, well, what did you do to mitigate your risk? And legally, that's going to be a big, big thing. And that's what I'm going to push to a lot of my clients. And that's what I push to people who ask me this very question. You have to learn to mitigate risk. You cannot rely on someone else to then come and fix a problem off of a mistake that was made that you voluntarily kind of got yourself involved in, right? So that's going to be one thing with that. And that's really the same answer that I'm going to give for scammers. I appreciate the nuance in the question, but it's going to kind of get the same answer from a legal standpoint. And I'm putting my attorney hat on, not my crypto enthusiast hat on in this section, because if you came to me as a client, one of the things I'm going to ask you is, okay, well, how much involvement do you have before the scam happened, right? Did you check your resources? Did you check the institution? Did you do your homework on this person? These are going to be the things that I'm going to use. Obviously, I'm going to defend in the best way possible, but these are going to be the things that I ask to see how good of a defense that you have if you're going to take the legal route, right? And then the other hand of that is just being proactive with your money, taking your funds off of warm wallets, making sure you're looking at the cold store wallet, making sure this is a project that's actually legitimate, right? Looking back on the coin, looking and see what kind of research you can get into, and don't do anything that you feel uncomfortable doing just because you want to be in the space, right? You don't want to just jump in thinking that everything is a free-for-all, which it kind of is, but it's a free-for-all for as much money as you're willing to lose, right? So that's going to be a risk as well. So long-winded answer, but yeah.
Okay, but then how about for the money side of that, like the money you already sent, like for the institution, let's say you got a loan or something, how would that, like, would I still be liable for that money that I was borrowed?
So if you're borrowing using an institution, I'm going to let Ryan talk a little bit more about that as well, because I know that he's a little bit more versed in that actual act of how that works. But what I would say, if there's a financial institution that is also taking a risk as well in any lending, right, fiat or crypto. So the institution in and of itself is taking a risk to go ahead and lend out those funds. So that's where they're going to do their due diligence to make sure they can get the best return on investment of the actual funds that they lended out as well. Right. So that's where you're going to go when you're looking for, okay, I need to get some type of restitution. This money was borrowed. I'm trying to go to this banking to get it either back from the bank or from an individual versus the bank. You're going to want to go to that institution first and say, okay, what are my remedies? What are the avenues that I have? What can you guys do to at least alleviate or help in this area? Because they kind of are a part of the issue by being that institution. Anytime there's a middleman, you can always go into that. But when you're looking at the lending, again, you have to mitigate your risk, even in that instance, right? So even with that borrowing and where your money goes, of course, there are going to be revenues that or avenues that you can use. That's why I brought up the fraud and different things like that, because they have different remedies that you can get. And there is something called being made whole, right? Or being the closest to being made whole as possible. And that's going to be the remedies that you can use even when borrowing. They're going to try and make you as whole as possible based off of something happening. But again, risk mitigation is going to be your number one defense in that, because I've seen a lot of people go through that avenue thinking that they're going to get some results, and they don't. And they don't. So that's going to be a huge deal with that. Any type of lending, any of that, it's always going to be really risky.
I see. Teddy, I mean, I know that Ryan is having some technical issues right now. We're gonna bring him back on when he's ready. But Teddy, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, being in the space for a while now, and like you're just hearing this is like a big concern, and just having someone like QK just to be able to tell you this stuff is so it's crazy to have this free information being thrown at us right now. This is just wonderful stuff. But yeah, she's right. I mean, this is new. It's the Wild West right now. You know, if you have your bank account, you know, you have kind of insurance there. If something ever happens, your bank can help refund you. With cryptocurrencies right now, we really don't have that. I think it will evolve eventually into where you are more protected. But right now, I know we haven't really talked too much about wallets, but I know a lot of people are on this live stream have wallets set up. But you just got to be very careful about where you connect your wallet to these certain projects or certain sites. I think a good practice would be to create a separate account that's used as a dummy wallet, maybe with just a little bit of funds in there. And that way, if you connect to something and somebody like is able to access your wallet and, you know, steal things out of it, they didn't really take anything because you have a separate dummy wallet from your main funds. But in a lot of cases, if you send somebody to, like, say, a scammer, and it'd be a scammer and they ask for money, if anybody really asks you for you to send money to them from your public key, I'm more likely it's going to be a scam. And just like with any new technologies, there's going to be scammers everywhere. I think everyone finally got used to knowing that the Nigerian prince on your email now is a scam. It's kind of universally became that knowledge. And so crypto being so new, there's going to be a lot of scammers. And I think over time, you'll be more and more protected. So doing more of your own research and listening to more crypto, like spend five hours a week at least, is trying to research different people on YouTube and understanding the space, you're going to be more protected with it. To answer, let me go back to that question. How do you protect yourself? And if you transfer money to their wallet and it disappears, a way to retrieve a transaction. So I think QK is the most helpful on that. But as far as I know, I mean, that is gone. Where a bank, you know, you can be protected. So when then you might be asking yourself, why even get involved in this space right now if, you know, nothing is really protected? Because it is a Wild West. But this is the opportunity where you can start investing. You don't have to sit there and move around money too much until you understand more about the staking aspect or liquidity pools. Really do your due diligence on that. There are ways to make extra money, but right now it's just how it's deflationary. And the more you invest stuff, the value can go up. You can even just invest a little bit and just step back, and you don't have to be too involved. But you definitely need to protect yourself. And I know we'll go into more and more detail. That's a whole nother discussion about private keys and seed phrases and stuff, getting yourself set up.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Teddy. Ryan, I see that you're back. Would you like me to just tell you again what's the question, or? So there's the part two. I mean,
basically was.
Yeah. Okay. You got it. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So basically, like, someone sent crypto to a wallet, and they were like, "Hey, I shouldn't have sent it there. What are the recourse? Like, what kind of recourse do they have?" Is that basically what it was?
So it was. How do you?
So
let me see.
if you.
Yeah. How do you protect yourself from crypto investing scammers taking advantage of the new industry? And then, especially if you already transfer money to the wallet and they disappear, is there a way to track or retrieve the transaction? So yeah, kind of like going like QK and Teddy. So there's not a path to get the crypto back if you send it to someone and you shouldn't have sent it to them. So say they are a scammer and you find out after the fact, you can't get the money back. They'd have to either send it back and they're scamming you because they're not going to send it back. They're going to use it for whatever they want to use it for. So the number one thing to be able to protect yourself is DYOR. Do your own research. So if it's a coin that you're seeing pumped on social media, on random social media accounts you've never seen, and they're saying, "Hey, join this Discord," and you have to send money in advance to join the Discord and stuff like that, scam most likely. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and tokens that are like that are the ones to invest into for the long term, like 5 years down the road. That's kind of how I look at it. I look at it, if I buy something, I've done my research, I feel comfortable with it, I'm holding it for at least a year, or I'm holding it for more than that. So if you have that kind of thinking, it's hard to get suckered into
these scams, because usually these scams are saying, hey, this is quick money. There's only an opportunity that's very limited. You have to get in now. Those are the ones you need to usually avoid. But yeah, kind of like what Teddy was saying, just do research.
Just to add to that, I mean, what if you already got scammed, and is it a way for us to put that as a loss in your income tax or something like that? How's that? Yeah, how would it approach? I mean, maybe I may be liable for that money already, but when it comes to taxes, can I report it as a loss or something?
You can't really report it as a loss necessarily. It depends, right? Like if it was like, hey, I'm paying this person for crypto services, then yeah, you could make it as a loss potentially. But just saying like, hey, this guy promised me I'd make 50x, and then you put money into it and you don't get it, the IRS isn't going to be like, oh yeah, that's definitely a deduction for you. To me, I look at it as the benefit. You're getting the benefit of learning, and you're learning not to do that again. And you're learning what projects are good and what projects are not good. And like what we talked about earlier, there's 20,000 cryptocurrencies out there right now, and there's only a very few handful that are actually worth something. It's kind of similar, like in the early 90s, early 2000s, when there were 20,000 different websites where they're saying, hey, order dog food and we'll send it to you through the mail in 2 weeks. Like there's a lot of websites that like sounded great and like people didn't know what was going on, but they had no real application.
Wow.
And that's where a lot of scammers really come from with their coins or NFTs, is at a base level, always ask what application, what use does this have in the real world? And if you can't come up with an answer for that, it's most likely either going to be a scam or something you don't want to mess with.
Okay, understood. Let's just move on to the next question. We have, how should we do our research, and how do we keep up to date with new information for NFTs and crypto? I'm gonna pass it on to you, Teddy. I know you're the crypto educator.
I can answer that first. I think regarding NFTs, I think the best place currently right now, and this can easily change 6 months from now, is actually Twitter. From our own research, we figured out having a Twitter account, a lot of the NFT space is on Twitter. A lot of new projects launch, like kind of give their information about when they're going to launch, where to what site. Following a legit company that you've researched, they'll find you the actual website, because as bigger companies come up, there'll be people that have fake sites that they want you to click on and go to. Just the old traditional kind of scam way of doing it, but they're doing it in a new way where, because this is a new space, so they can kind of use the classic scamming ways to get you. So following stuff on Twitter, just following certain people on Twitter, that they give you a lot of good updates. Of course, now we have new applications like Telegram and Discord. Discord is usually younger generation with video games, when Telegram's more kind of businesses, people in their 30s and 40s are using Telegram more. So it's a great way. And then also they have fake Telegram group chats too, so you got to make sure you get the actual Telegram link and stuff through the actual source from the website. And a good way to start is, okay, well, which cryptocurrency is like, hey, I want to get involved in a certain ecosystem. How do I know it's the right site? The best site is going to coinmarketcap.com or coingecko.com and nomics.com. And I know next time we can talk more about this stuff, but you click on the cryptocurrency that they have a listing there. It's almost like a phone book. You can click on there, or almost like, a social media page. You click on it and it gives you the price of the token, the total supply. And they also have links there that you can safely click on to take you to that token's website. So, you're looking at the legit way. That's just a safer way to go about doing it instead of Google. If you just Google the token, who knows if you might be getting to the correct site, because a lot of these sites want you to connect your wallet to it, to access or to, purchase stuff like that. So making sure you go to the actual source would be the market exchange sites like coinmarketcap.com.
Okay, great. How about you, QK and Ryan? How do you guys keep yourself up to date? Like, what do you guys do? I mean, that was a lot of information. And then, by the way, so everyone who registered, will later this week, we will be sending out an email with all of this, like a nice, some notebooks, notes and everything, so people can just read. And then we're gonna put in some useful links you guys can use to just keep learning about crypto. just the basics, the fundamentals, and then we're gonna be improving that note as we keep on moving on with the sessions. How about let me pass it on to you, QK.
Yeah, so I'll say to Teddy's point that that's a really good way to keep up with it. I know I do. I looked at that as more like informal with Twitter because there's like a social media basis, but it really is a great way to keep up with projects that are happening. I know I get a lot of my just generalized news sometimes from Twitter. I don't watch like full blown news. It can be a lot. And honestly, it doesn't give me the same type of information of what I'm looking for, especially in a space where I'm a little bit more informed. So with Twitter, it's a bit easier to see the different projects. It's kind of quick. You can drop some links in there. People click on the links. It's not long form content, right? So you're not like looking at a bunch of copy or even an NFT honestly is a pixelated, like a picture or a photograph or a little short GIF or something like that. So being able to see that in real time on a social media page and see the projects, you can actually see what you're getting invested in as well versus kind of having to guess. And then also touching on like Discords, I was introduced to Discords obviously by being in the space, but also from Twitter. Right. So you're able to look at the different channels based off the links that are dropped in those projects, which is a part of doing the research of, okay, is this something that I can look into? And to Ryan's point, if it doesn't have an actual use case in like real time to where it doesn't make sense to you, or if it does have a use case and it's still not a space that you're not really familiar with. So you're like, oh, I don't really get into this much, but let me try this. I wouldn't say getting into a space here with something that you're not familiar with is a good idea, right? Because that's an easy way for you to get duped as well, because it'll be easier to fool you. Like, oh yeah, we'll be able to do X, Y, and Z. Someone who works in that space, they'll be like, no, you can't. Or, okay, you can, let me see more of what you're talking about. Versus someone who's just like, okay, sounds great. So that kind of helps you kind of, for lack of better words, weed out the BS, right? So you don't get stuck with something and you're just like, oh, this won't have any value at all, which is kind of a running joke, right? In the crypto space of like the NFTs, for example, because it's very easy for you to end up with an NFT or paying a lot of money for something. And then you're like, but what am I going to do with this? Or how is this going to be beneficial? If it's not something that you would want just in general anyway, kind of defeats the purpose of spending the money on it in a way. You want to have something that you're like, oh, I like this. I like this space. I like this project. I like these people, whatever the reason being. I would equate it to even collecting art in a way. So you need to kind of get familiar with the space before jumping on. That's one thing that I'm a big proponent of. Yes, these are all wonderful projects, whether it's NFTs or smart contracts or different types of coins and cryptocurrency or even DAOs, right? And having all of these decentralized things that you can get involved in. But at the same time, you want to make sure that these are things that you have some type of knowledge on, right? You want to make sure that you're doing research on all facets of this and understand your basics, then jump into the deep end, right? And that's why we're here.
Amazing. Well, let's just go into the next question. And
I add one more thing to that, Lewis.
Oh, you want to add? Yeah.
Just about like what's the safest way? I say going through the coinmarketcap.com. Pretty much go to the market cap, the websites. And then when you go to that, say you like that particular project you want to look into, use their link. And once you go to their site, they usually have their social media links from that site. Because you just go on YouTube and type anything, you'll get some influencers and people that shill coins and stuff. Means is like, they're trying to show like brag about their projects. A lot of the time they're paid for it. And they're just kind of, if you just kind of type in, cryptocurrency on YouTube, you get these random people. So it's best to try to find the actual projects page, is go to their website using the market cap exchanges, and then you go to their social media and YouTube and Discord through that way. So just want to point that out, just to try to be the safest option.
Follow their official, go to their official website and then just follow them from there.
Correct.
Good to know. Okay, so hey Ryan, I see you're back. So let me just send this question to you right away. It's a two-part question. It said, do you think cryptocurrencies are just a part of the technological trend? If not, do you see cryptocurrencies ever replacing cash? And the second question to that, why is there so much confidence in cryptocurrency if many have failed? And this question is by Jack Puntanake. Thank you, Jack.
Is it for me?
Yes,
oh, okay.
right.
So I can't hear it. So yeah, do I think it's part of the technological trend? And if not, do you see them ever replacing cash? Like, so I definitely do see cryptocurrency as the technological trend. And in a lot of ways, I know I keep talking about like early 90s internet websites and all that. It's similar to that, because at the beginning of early 90s, there was nothing where we're going to order things online somewhere how we're doing with Amazon, right? And even then they started with books. And now they've evolved where they ship everything to you. And I think it's how cryptocurrency is. Like right now we're having basically peer-to-peer, little art, but it's going to be everything. We're going to interact with basically the whole world, and it's going to shrink down and allow us to talk to anybody in the world because of this technological trend. Yes, I also do think it'll replace cash. We're even seeing right now where cash, in a lot of ways, with these sanctions that are happening in Russia, the things that happened in Canada, cryptocurrency is being used readily as a cash equivalent to be able to buy things. Similar to how people back in the day, when your currency would go out, if you had gold or silver, you could still transact, buy goods and services with that. It's just now in this digital age we're in, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency is now the gold and silver whenever your currency of choice for your country goes out. So you're seeing the same thing in Russia and Canada, or mainly Russia. You can really see people that are using cryptocurrency instead of their own, the ruble for Russians. Because the Russian ruble went down in value crazy. But if you had Bitcoin, your Bitcoin went up in value crazily against the ruble. But yeah, I definitely think it's going to replace cash. I definitely think that this is part of the technological trend.
Just to add to that, why is there so much confidence in cryptocurrency if many have failed? Just the last, I mean, that was the part 2 of that question.
But why is there so much confidence?
Yeah, in cryptocurrencies, if many have failed.
So the reason why there's so much confidence is the ability to use it in so many different ways, and the also having your own private ownership. This is the first thing we've ever had in the history of humankind where you actually have full ownership of something. Yeah, people say like, hey, you buy land or whatever, but if you buy land and then the government or whatever someone wants to take it from you, all they got to do is go on that land with whatever they want. And so like, yep, you're not doing anything on this land. You do own it in theory, but we're not going to allow you to do anything with it. Cryptocurrency is one of those things where if you have those 12 or 24 words in your head, there is nothing anybody can do to make you do anything with it. Like you hear the old joke of, I lost my Bitcoin in a boating accident. And it's because of that, right? Like someone says, hey, we want your Bitcoin or want your Ethereum. I don't know. I don't have access to the wallet anymore. I don't have the numbers. I don't have the words to get into it. And that's the first asset in humankind history that we've had actual full ownership of. Like cash, if a bank like JP Morgan or Arvest doesn't like you, or if someone doesn't like you and they talk to the bank, they can freeze your account. They can make it where you can't transact. So if you did something from your personal account that you thought would maybe be a little bit shady, and you have a corporate account that you pay payroll out of, well, if they find out your name is attached to the corporate account, they'll freeze both your personal and your corporate account. Whereas with cryptocurrency, if you have your wallet and you have your keys, no one can stop you no matter what's going on.
Yeah,
and that's kind of the difference
did it,
between
right?
Yeah, Canada
just did it. Unbelievable.
And that's the difference between trusted versus trustless. Crypto is trustless, so I don't need someone's permission to be able to make a transaction go through. Whereas if it's a trusted transaction, like through a bank or anything like that, I need someone's permission to make the transaction go through. Crypto is trustless, where I don't need anyone's permission.
Yeah. Teddy, what are your thoughts on that? You know, this is notice that we're running out of time, but that was just to piggyback from Rian. Is there any last thoughts on that question? And then I will jump over to QK.
Yeah, I was going on about, you said cryptocurrencies many have failed. Yeah, and there's plenty more that will too. You know, what are they really promising? What's the utility behind it? You know, what team is working behind it? So you guys, it's so important to be doing your own research before you invest into anything. You know, don't invest because your neighbor said Shiba went up 500%. Okay, it's going to go down 1,000% the next day. Those are pump and dump coins, and I know we can get more into detail about that. But yeah, fiat has failed us.
I gotta go sell my Shiba right now.
It's already done. You should have sold 6 months ago, man. But yeah,
I missed the memo.
Like you look at the situation in Greece. I mean, fiat has failed us already, and just like Brian's point is, like, it's unbelievable, and it's as crypto gets more and more mainstream, more popular, the governments are giving us more and more reasons of why it's a smart thing to start investing in and kind of moving your whole life towards. Where the Canadian government, with the convoy situation, they started freezing people's bank account. They made it illegal for the government to go in without asking for permission and freeze. And if you bought a t-shirt from the convoy, you weren't even in the convoy, they still froze your accounts. They had access to that. Cryptocurrency solves all this. It gives the power back to us. But there will be a lot that will fail, and it will continue to fail. That's why but there's projects going to be around. There's probably what Ryan could answer this too. Like there's at least 2 projects guaranteed to be around in 10 years. And that's Bitcoin and Ethereum right now. And that could change in a couple of years where there's going to be more and more investing and more because it's becoming too powerful. They can't take it away.
Right.
Let's just leave that for the next series. QK, how about you?
That's a great question to leave on. And basically, I will say to the first part of that, a technological trend, in a way, I think it is, but so was email, and so is internet, and so is, being able to online bank. These are things that are trends, but they're also things that are here to stay. So I think the difference between, like we're talking about Shiba coin and all of these other kind of like Teddy was saying, pump and dump coins is that there's always going to be some nuance in there, some things that are not maybe going to last forever. However, the main concept of the disruption of how this is going to implement our industry will make a huge impact. That will stay forever, right? We may not use one exact coin, and that's debatable, right, on what's going to be here. To Teddy's point, it could change tomorrow. It's a very volatile market. But the thing is, it's the same way we're looking at stock markets for in general. Investing is not going anywhere. Trading is not going anywhere. It may look different, but it's not going anywhere. So that's one way to like change our mindset as to what's happening right now. We don't want to be static in a certain I want to hold on to my dollar. I want to hold on to my coin. And I'm not saying that's what you're saying, but at the same time, being able to take nuance and see that when something is changing, how it's going to change. Right. So this is something that's going to disrupt the financial industry as a whole. No matter what is the actual coin that's used, it's going to make a change. It already has. Right. It already has. Governments are having to respond to it at this point because people are getting educated. They're learning and they're saying, no, we're not dealing with this. And then the government is also trying to take away freedoms that we've had for a very long time. Being able to freeze money, that's what's going on in the world right now with Russia is a huge, huge deal. And the reason that it's not being looked at in a light that I think it should is because there's a morality point to it, right? Oh, well, they're doing something bad. So therefore, this is the punishment. This is the repercussion for a consequence when you do something whoever the we is, don't like, right? That's very dangerous because that's a slippery slope. You can be the we, right? The next time, or you can be on the other side of that. What happens then? Right. And then as far as failures, I think it's an interesting way to say something has failed, right? Because even though these coins are not working, it doesn't mean the structure has failed. So to that point, I don't think cryptocurrency has failed. I think there's been some projects within the cryptocurrency space that have failed, but it as a whole and what it's doing, the encryption, like I said, cryptographic encryption has been around for a very long time, right? That's just like saying a code fails or a site on the internet fails. Does that mean the internet has failed? No, it means a site that was put on the internet has failed. So again, we have to start looking at these things differently. It's a mindset trip, y'all. It's a mindset trip. But I think as we start to talk about this and get more educated, we start to have different nuanced conversations and we can really start to understand this.
Amazing. Well, thank you guys. I think I'm gonna bring up the slides right now, and I just wanna do one last shout out to to start building. So if you want to get started on building on Web3, it's crazy. I mean, you don't know where to start. I mean, just stay tuned. Just keep on watching the next series. If anything, you can always reach out to us. But here, I'm just gonna a nice, quick, easy step would be if you're planning on having or launching a new product in the next few months already. If you want to get your domain, you can get an unstoppable domains. They're a type of domain that uses blockchain technology to handle the registration and many other features. So if you can have, let's say, for instance, we wanted to have LCube. We already have LCube Studio.NFT. So if I'm planning on launching an NFT collection, I already have my crypto domain already there. It's already registered and it's tied to my wallet. So and also there's so many out there that use NFT.DAO, .x. Why it's so many others. Just check them out. Here's the QR code. Just you can always come back and replay the video and scan it with your phone, and then make sure you get started. And then for you guys too, the panelists, I don't know how many of you guys already have a crypto domain, but if you want to get started, just scan the QR code and just get it going. And the web is moving in there. So the browsers are going to be more compatible with this new technology. And like you said, QK, this is we were building the Web3, right? Because we have ownership of our data. So the more people we have, the better. And
Absolutely.
This is why we're here. This is why Crypto Insight is here. I just want to say thank you. I want to thank you guys. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Teddy, and thank you, QK, for making the time. I learned so much, and I want to thank. It's just it's just a lot. We work on this together, and it's been a journey, right? And then we're now live. We're having series coming up, and I want to make sure that everyone gets to enjoy it. And then I also want to thank the LCube team for
thank you.
Yeah. Oh no, my bad. Let me take it back. I want to thank our sponsors. Let me take it back. It's Stoop House. It's again for the Web3 merch. If you guys are already moving into Web3, I mean, a lot of everyone who's been watching us, just go grab some merch. And then Forholy, if you want to get, have a spiritual connection with God, just go ahead. It's a nice way for you to keep yourself mentally prepared, mentally and spiritually. And last but not least, my brother Aaron, love his music. It was a pleasure to have you here. And then I hope you guys can go follow him. His Linktree website. Everyone's information is in here. Thank you guys. Thank you for collaborating, for helping us out. And now I can definitely thank the LQ team for for all their efforts and everything. And so we have me, we have Lucas, Tenzin, Jack, and Kelly, who have been put in, they're behind the scenes, who've been monitoring everything. Thank you guys. I'm happy for all the team effort we have put in together. And but now let's get the energy back up. And like I said, we will be having the I want to thank you guys, the audience, for staying all this up to the end. But we want to be giving the NFT. We gotta be doing the giveaway. So if you haven't registered, register. Subscribe to our social media, to our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Subscribe, comment, like, do it all. So don't forget to subscribe to our panelists, social media, our sponsors, because they're amazing. They're just amazing. And then we will be sending an email out later today for other people who have registered. So you guys have 1 more hour to register before we send that email out with the links and instructions on how to claim your NFT. As you can see, there's a sneak peek of the Crypto Insight Series 1 NFT. So this is an NFT. No worries if you're still a beginner and you don't know what's a wallet, or you don't know how to put in this information into your or claim your NFT. No worries, we will have a Series 2, and then we will make sure we can give you the first one if you participated, and also for Series 2. We will be explaining more about wallets and how to get started on that, because I think many of you guys might have a problem claiming it if you're still a beginner, but if you're already intermediate and advanced, make sure you claim it. Any last thoughts, panelists, before we end this live stream?
I want to say thanks everybody tuning in. 3 hours is a lot of information, but this is a good step if you're just now beginning to start to consume all this stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Thank you. Thank you so much for just being a part of this. Time is valuable. And so spending all of this time with us to just listen and taking information, to take it and then have questions to ask on top of that. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience. So thank you so much, LCube, and for all the fellow panelists. I've also learned something being up here as well, just the tidbits. And so I'm grateful to be in this space. So appreciate it. And also, please follow the links. Everyone on the panel, super talented and informed. QCAD Consulting, as far as if you're local in Oklahoma, or even if you're out of state and just wanting to get some more business knowledge or crypto knowledge or compliance knowledge on building a business in this space and in this industry, please connect. Website, social, it's the same across all boards here. And thank you.
Yeah, echoing the same thing everyone else is saying. Big thank you to LCube. Big thank you to the other panelists. And it's been great. Like Debbie said, this is a great first start, like a dip your toes in the water kind of thing. Just keep doing this. Look at it every day. That's basically what happened to me. End of 2020, I got into it, looked at it every day, kept continually getting into it more and more. And now I'm doing my own business that's completely crypto related. So, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, guys. We're gonna be leaving the this slide up for another 5 minutes before we end the live stream. But yeah, we're gonna be going off now. Thank you for everyone who joined. Pleasure. Thank you for all the support to friends, family. All the best.
I just look up in the sky. I'm a race until I die. I'm a race until I die. I'm a race until I'm weak. I can remember the days when I used to have nothing to eat. Running around, no job. I used to be out in the streets. Fix me up, put me on, I feel sweet. I'm a race until I die. I'm a race now when I'm gone. You see me, I'm swinging like They be like, what you come from? I be like, you put me on. They like it. I see him, they play my song. Gotta give glory to the king, man. They be like, brother, hey, how you rap and sing, man? All this shine got me feeling like Compton, man. Running hard, trying to get my wife that ring, man. Let them ride. Nobody is on my side. And you know it's alright. I'm a praise God till I die. I'm a praise God till I die. I'm a praise God till I die. I just look up in the sky. I'm a praise God. I'm a praise God till I die. I'm a praise God till I die. I'm a praise God till I die. Everybody. I'm a praise God till I die. I'm a praise God till I die. I just look up in the sky. I'm a praise God till I die. God is a spirit. I need a worship Him. Must worship Him. In spirit, and in truth. Yeah. Let me give Him praise, man. He been good to me. What's good? What's up, yo? Me praise God. That's me. That's who He called me to be. Let me be me. Thank you, God.
After the next song, join in the show.
Heavenly Father, help me. Let me get this together. For real. Here I am, God. Don't got no trick on my sleeve. Be like, hold up, bro. You take your time. Brother, Jordan, Aaron, schoolers, don't you cross that line. Better be a leader, better let your light shine on everything about you. Speak that truth and don't be lying. Go hit the bar, go hit the club, I'm gonna hit the church, sing some praises, no smoke for me, give me the Bible I read, don't got no trick on my sleeve, I just be keeping it real, this is living, what you trying to tell me, keep going from all that darkness, it is just not healthy, all these girls so I've been saying and they show it's trendy, but I just try to be that voice so back up and let me speak and retreat in every corner to every street, spreading that women and black police. This is beauty, that's sweet, yeah, it's on repeat. They say they clean it back, brother Aaron on the track. Jesus Christ is coming back, yeah. You is you, me is me. I'll be way different. I'll be who I'm meant to be, yeah. Won't be who you want me be. No, I won't do you, cause that is just not my thing. Leave me like you wanna stay in lane, you wanna stay in lane, every night you say, you wanna stay in lane, you wanna stay in lane, every night you say, you wanna stay in lane, you wanna stay in lane. I be telling you, like, for the longest since I've been a kid, it's like, all the stuff is just like not for me. Let me be clear. Where you are are chosen people, royal priesthood, holy nation. God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his wonderful light. Amen.